Hello, everybody, and welcome to OSAS Finale. I'm Too Soon, joined here by Nubsta, and we have an absolute heater for a first game. It's Chikara Chiquitos versus Shrimp and Shrimpers. These teams, both extremely strong in their own right, and on a Taiko Temple map, right, it's known to be so volatile, you have an awakening start that just gives so much CDR. Primetime twin drive, and it's going to be interesting seeing these teams navigate the extra abilities that will make either claiming or defending these barriers a monumental task.
Of monumental indeed, and with Atlas receiving his recent nerfs, it could be one of those cases where we might even see an eject button goalie come out instead of the typical defensive goalies that we see plague or at least dot the surface of Taiko Temple and make that last barrier or even the two barriers an absolute nightmare to take. And with all these primary nerfs that have come out on cooldown with a recent patch, prime time actually starts to become a much bigger role in the environment. Being able to have two primaries in a quick succession when normally the primaries don't come out as often now with the nerfs. Prime time could be a very key pickup where normally it wouldn't be as sought after.
Yeah, and looking at the drafts, you were talking about how we might see an EB goalie potential for it for the side of the Shrimp and Shrimpers. A Steam Whistle can flex a variety of characters, but I'm thinking that's him on the Rasmus. And on the other side, it is going to be a Jubu goalie into the forwards of Juno and Vice, so it is Rasmus goalie. It's interesting running the double sort of midfield here without a typical brawler. Interesting to see how they're going to try and navigate this core around the Dubu and try and get something done here.
Not to mention, we have siphoning on Vice, but Juno does a lot of damage, but they don't really have the greatest KO potential, so it's really interesting how they're going to make this work. Maybe the Erasmus right there with Stream Whistle getting the first KO, but losing the barrier to Shinx. The Erasmus might be their KO converter here with the Pauldrons.
Yeah, a lot of damage here, and the effects of it already being felt. Evades being burned here to deal with that supernova. One barrier down, but the core still in a good spot for the Shrimpers. And they're just trying to work this spot side barrier. Nice rollout from Firelink, just stopping everything. Better strike wars, and they do find that clear, but Steam Whistle able to reset this offense, get it into the hands of that Juno, but Misael with a nice dribbling off the top and bot sides with Strike Shot in the Chain Lightning, almost disastrous with the strike on cooldown, but able to hold onto it for now. As I say that, Caster's Curse, 2 flips, both being used, and that's just devastating if you're Chikara Chiquitos.
And the reaction check there from Kitten Ruler onto Firelink. Firelink, unfortunately, having a couple steppy rolls lose those barriers, led to the situation where not only was the KO potential there to remove the striker from the field, but also they're getting these. Oh my god, it's just everywhere. Simple geometry. But these one thing about damage things that a lot of like newer players don't really understand is that you're forced to evade. And you're forced to use your energy for things other than scoring. And so having this energy economy advantage, even if you're not necessarily getting the KOs, is going to mean a lot for this team.
Yeah, damage extremely easy to execute, and weird trade with the flips, but it's still one barrier apiece, and it's Shrimp and Shrimpers trying to get offense activated here, but Kitten Ruler, worse for wear, and the play will stop dead in their tracks. It's interesting to see Misael just now getting their ultimate. That Kazan was not a character, and might be taken off the map once more with the supernova. Damage really being the story here, but Chikara Chiquitos holding on for now, able to equalize the Bears. Misael back in the play here, and the core is still in a good position for them, but a nice clear found by Kitten Ruler around the world. The core is going. Battle means wave with the core, but not for long there. Can't hold on to it forever, and suddenly the power play is reversed, and Chikara Chiquitos able to convert off the missed death touch of Steam Whistle.
Yeah, and it actually converted earlier off of Shinx's barrier grab, seeing that the Stream Whistle had moved too far forward and using the energy burst to get it past them and secure that barrier allowed that chance to even happen in the first place. So good eye from Shinx there to find that play.
Even better, keeping this offense going. Top spin in the corner. Both barriers fall in a quick succession. Bad news if you're the Shrimp and Shrimpers, but they're able to find the clear for now. Nice rollout to reactivate this offense, but the crooked leverage not quite enough. Kitten Ruler just dumping damage. Both these forwards for Shrimp and Shrimpers and Chikara Chiquitos, worse for wear. And that's a dangerous angle, but somehow not a double barrier. Stroke of luck there for Chikara Chiquitos, but unfortunately, their enemy taken off the map. Into the top side corner we go. Nice blobs everywhere, trying to control the space, but the clear is found. Flip is whiffed, and somehow, some way, Chikara Chiquitos, they hold on.
Somehow, some way, it just seems like a series of unfortunate events right now. We've got weird strikes going through people that shouldn't go through people. We've got abilities being used on the core that has left the area in multiple different ways. It's just all kinds of craziness going on both sides. But Kitten Ruler wins that final strike war against Firelink and gets this core forward and is now keeping it forward. And unfortunately, a clear down to Pato means a free shot into the bottom corner, and even their own team wasn't ready there.
Yeah, creative use of that central taiko drum. We've only been seeing them play a part in Misael being taken off the map, but there are some very clever angles that you can use, and hopefully these players are aware of that. But right now, corner offense, definitely the tail right now. One barrier down for Chikara Chiquitos, trying to work this top side, get it through the two forwards. Not going to happen. Spado means wave covers the outs, and there's one barrier down. Make that two. Fire Link not in a great position there, and Steam Whistle trying to work this top side with nice Death's Touch there. Better Whiplash, keeping it forward, and that's the shock. The chain lightning from Kid and Ruler getting the job done.
And that's one of the powers of Chain Lightning, too, to hit it off the corner there behind the midfielder and then use the midfielder as your scoring opportunity to have the Chain Lightning go forward. And Firelink, unaware of that, strikes a little too early and gets struck war by that Chain Lightning for the goal. And this lets Vice get this critical heavy impact pickup. This is going to let Kitten Ruler just go absolutely crazy on the field.
Yeah, and it's important to note the new awakening, Spark of Leadership, Hotshot. Hotshot already having to be denied away from this Juno, and it seems like nobody's in a sparking mood, but Leadership, also an extremely potent awakening. And I think both these players navigated the draft pretty handily. You know, not too many awakenings that these characters are like really bad with using. It's just more so a matter that Kid and Ruler getting that heavy impact, definitely the highlight of that draft, to be sure.
Well, I think another highlight of that draft is Steam Missile getting that Might of the Colossus on the already large Pauldron's Rasmus with the extra power, sitting at 152 power already with only 2 awakenings, and one of them doesn't even give power. And with a KO here, this offense is looking just devastating between the heavy impact Vice and all this damage that's coming out. Look at this. No goalie means... And a broken midfielder means you just can't defend the core anymore.
Yeah, we were talking about the damage, and a big part of that is CDR, which is what this balance patch tried to shift away. But it's primetime twin drive start. Everyone has so many abilities to work with here, and that's just so much opportunity to get the job done. Misael already showing that with the 2 primaries and a better strike board to get the core into the nets. But Kid and Ruler able to equalize and get that second barrier down here with a flip. And around the world, this core going once more. Steam Whistle very confident in the net, and Misael battered and bruised again. This man has been staggered way more often than he hasn't, and they're just slow playing it, trying to get that power play going, and Firelink reads the situation wrong, and that's a second goal for Shrimp and Shrimpers.
And not only is the damage coming out for Shrimp and Shrimpers and making this life for Chikara Chiquitos just absolute hell, but, I mean, look at that. Just an instant combo into death. That's the power of heavy impact Vice. But the other thing that they're having trouble with is one of the weaknesses of Dubu is not being able to be in every place at once. And with Juno Vice, you can be in many different places and force Dubu to be in the wrong spot at the right time and get these free barriers. Unfortunately, Stream Whistle catching the tail end of that as well.
Yeah, but that large Rasmus able to cover the entire net with Pendulum Swing. Holding on for now. Whiplash activated. Not going to need it, though. It's a 1v1 here, but nice patience from Firelink. Supernova can get some more damage on. I mean, both these forwards down to half, and Firelink can't win the Strike Wars forever. It's down to Pato here. Only Shink standing in front of them. And oh my, what was that? Both the goalie and the midfield had an opportunity to strike. The other think the other guy got it. Neither of them did. And Shrimp and Shrimpers, they take their second set with relative ease.
The bystander effect, it plagues us even in the game of Omega Strikers by Odyssey Interactive, and a lot of really good awakenings here. Some that don't seem really that great in the long run, and this Aimee is just full denial right now. Shink's just denying the Spectrane, denying the Hotshot. Hotshot's still amazing on Aimee, but still. But it doesn't matter, because Vice now gets the heavy impact. Juno gets the Reptile Remedy to scale even harder with Bulk Up. And now Juno with 36 power has a ton of speed in overtime, which is like the whole point of the character, and the whole point of denying Hotshot in the first place. And now this Juno's basically unkillable, so you can't even fight back with all the damage that's coming your way.
Yeah, the builds for Shrimp and Shrimpers, immaculate right now in that supernova. Just as good. Thunderstruck claims another soul, and it's Firelink all alone. He's just a man. He's just a hamster left to his own devices. And unfortunately, it is simply not enough. The Shrimp and Shrimpers capitalize in full off the 2 KOs.
An ACDC approved Thunderstruck here, and now we have a 179 power Vice with heavy impact and twin drive. This is just feels like it's spelling doom for Chikara Chiquitos. They're gonna have to pull out some absolute theatrics to get past this damage that's coming their way, and Firelink is just getting caught out here and there, having to try and be this barrier so that they can make these plays, but
no!
Unfortunately loses both and then dies.
Thunderstruck Supernova. Shinx trying to play proactively, but the Cyber Swipe just misses. I'm watching a Greek tragedy here from Chikara Chiquitos. They're all trying to step up, but it's just an unmovable object from Shrimp and Shrimpers. The damage, too much. All three members contributing to the KOs in their own way. And with the people down, the core control is there as well, working the corner, and somehow they're able to deal with that flip, but it's only a matter of time before it gets sent their way again, and Shinx is already staggered out of this play, really.
I mean, can still kind of play while staggered, but it's super difficult with all this range damage, and then they use the flip there. Pato uses the flip to kill the Dubu. Now they don't have a goalie, they have a midfielder who's broken and can't really enter the play, but they still find the barrier. Just an unforced error from the side of Shrimp and Shrimpers, but it doesn't seem to matter. They just always have a power play. They're always putting somebody in a bad position, and as long as they're not in a bad position, they're poised to just win this game.
Yeah, and they're able to beat out the rollout of Firelink. Hufu Fortress committed here, just trying to buy some time. And Misael already on death's door. The man just respawned. Give him a break. They're using the Taiko Drum Supernova in the corner, but it doesn't find its mark. Chiquitos, they're stepping up. They're just trying to keep that core away. The flip from Steam Whistle sending it right back to the senders. And they're not able to convert right now. Chiquitos, this is their most valiant effort yet. Misael with the core denied by the Whiplash, and it's Kid Roller with a flip. Doesn't even need to use it though. And unfortunately, damage just far too much to deal with for Chiquitos and Shrimp and Shrimpers. Wow.
The power of Juno's damage compels you, and then the power of Heavy Impact Vice to basically make everything's the entire lives of Chikara Chiquitos hell. I mean, just incredible amounts of damage coming their way. Can't even play the game. When a Kazan can play in game, he's one of the most terrifying characters in the field. But if you don't let him ever touch the core, even with the Vampiric Vambrace, he's not going to survive, and you're never going to have an offense. A single Aimi can make an offense happen, but against a Juno, already that's a difficult time for her. And against a Vice Juno, you're just asking to get KO'd half the time. Just too much damage coming your way. And just well played by Shrimp and Shrimpers, seeing their win condition, playing into it, and playing it well.
Yeah, well played from Shrimp and Shrimpers, and a valiant attempt from Chikara Chiquitos. But, I mean, the story of this match was the damage, and unfortunately, Chikara Chiquitos couldn't find the answers to deal with it. And that's a wrap for this game. But when we come back, more OSAS finale, so don't go anywhere.
日々説明のつかない感情難しい言葉などいらないと気づいたんだ茜に染まった過去と今をISS 手段は修練の炎と心とも魂を燃やせ尽きない命と共に奴を道連れに最高のショータイムこの世の終わりが不死の呪いどちらかが勝利を収めるこの炎は消えない大嫌いだった月も人も少しは許せたから恨むことにも飽きたしたださまようだけの抜け殻には興味がないの不自然に揺れる森の先へ突き立てた指豪華に抱かれる準備はいい魂を燃やせ生きてる証を探そう私一人では見つけられない永遠の苦しみも切なの安らぎとなれ胸を焦がすこの炎は消えない魂を燃やせ尽きない命と共に二人ならきっと分かり合える聖なる裁きが気まぐれな戯れかはどうでもいいや魂を燃やせ尽きない命と共に退屈しのぎに最高のショータイムこの世の終わりが不死の呪いどちらかが勝利を収める
Hello, everybody, and we are back, heading on to the other side of pools for OSAS finale. We have for you Seraphim Crimson versus Hooked on Goth Cats, and this time instead of Taiko Temple, we're headed into another fan favorite, Night Market on an Orbret built diff start. So what do you think about that?
I think Orb Rep is still not that great, and probably everyone's going to take built different, but I could be proven wrong. We'll see. OSAS is definitely a place to be uh, innovative and niche. A lot of OSAS players tend to have this niche that they tend to fill, and if they're very good at that niche, some of the newer OSAS players don't necessarily know how to fight it. So maybe there could be somebody that's been documenting how to use Orb Rep here that I've never really considered, and they're going to bust something out and surprise us all, or we're just going to see a bunch of build difference.
Yeah, and speaking of niches, there's a character here that's slowly going to expand. There's Era, picked up by Seraphim Crimson, and if y'all have not played on this new patch, Era Beam is actually like super duper crazy now. It's insane. It goes off instantly, and now you just have a big Era controlling all this space. And Seraphim Crimson always a little unorthodox with their drafting. Mako forward for Malachi there because Yugo will never ever touch a melee goalie. That's him on the Finny. And I mean, very obscure comp from Crimson into a more tried and true, more standard in sort of composition with the X Aimi and Akai on the momentum boots, by the way, to back it up. But like you said, Nubsta, nobody's an Orb Rep believer. Everyone's taking build diff.
It's trying to be built a little different here, and one person who is built different is Master X Malachi on this Mako forward. Basically has been playing Mako forward almost since release, I want to say, and has been part of OSAS since, I believe, OSAS 2. So a long time coming, but Imperfections getting the KO first here on this Aimi in a power play as everyone is pushing forward, but it doesn't matter. Pewis happens to use the power of that Era Beam to just 1v3 and protect that goal from happening and get a barrier.
Yeah, Calamity averted off that power play for Seraphim Crimson, but it's now Pewis looking staggered. Never mind, damage not going to matter. The pass was not cut. Communication between Kappa Imperfections, pristine, and that shot is good topside.
Pristine indeed. Nobody really covering that pass up to the middle, and Kappa in the right spot, ready to go. And look at these insta beams just being such a plague now. For those who want an actual number, Era Beam had a 0.4 second duration where Eric stood there and casted the spell. Now that duration is 0.2 seconds, half the duration that she's standing there to cast that spell. And compared to what she used to do, it looks nigh instant.
Yeah, night and day. Especially the barrier situation, both night and day. 2 for Goth Cax, none for Crimson, and both the midfield and goalie with their strike and feeding Kappa, able to punch it in once again.
I think one thing we want to pay attention to, and not just OSAS, but upcoming Nassel games too, is this powerful version of Era going to be enough to overcome her what has mostly been her weaknesses in recent years? Or not years, but years and patches. Will this power boost be enough to put her back into the game, or is it just going to prove to be still a weakness for her in the long run?
Yeah, but nothing but a nuisance right now for Goth Cats. Both their forwards looking weak, but feeding Kappa with a nice bell ringer, able to convert. Second barrier, it's Malachi topside with a flip, able to sink it in there. And my goodness, perfect pitch, empowered strike. Several Lindis just got battered and beaten until that goal went in.
Good awareness from Malachi there too. I mean, kind of a connoisseur of this Mako forward pick. But recognizing that Barrage was down and Mako can kind of just slap people in the face and win any amount of strike wars with her 6+ strikes she can do in succession. And just recognizing that, using the flip to get the barrier, and then slapping Kai in the face for the goal means that they get a point here and stay alive in this set.
Yeah, and offense still raging. A missed glitch pop means Malachi can pounce, and both barriers fall here. They still got the core, but the clear is found. Going topside, it's Pewis with first contact here, and it's Imperfections getting the better end of it. Sending it bot side to Kappa. Sentry turret not quite doing much for them. There's a triple take. The offense rolling forward now for Seraphim Crimson. Drum and bass. Kinda iffy in that position. They couldn't feed it towards Malachi, and now the play comes to a little bit of a slow. There's that gravity. Wow! It's almost dangerous, but that Mom Boots Kai. Mom Boots got a huge buff here. Both the goalies are taking it. It's now 20% total. That's a lot of speed to work with as we head into overtime. Yugo just barely able to catch that core, but can't catch the bell ringer. does use that flip though. All the cooldowns for X use doesn't matter though, because X Maximus lingers and Yugo's hit stun can't rotate top side. And that is Goth Cats taking the first set.
And we are kind of seeing the power of Aimi here, even though Imperfections was kind of taken out of a lot of that point with low HP, it just didn't matter because Era's not that scary even on a low HP game, and Aimi can still just affect the core from a distance, and finding that dribble off the bottom to bait out the strike from Malachi into the glitch pop scores them the goal and the set, and is now rewarded with stacks on stacks, but a lot of really good stuff here. Fighter flight on the Fini, cast the last on the X is it seems a little strange, but denying the Era that beam potential, denying her the ability to have longer speed is better. But Era decides to go Sparks here, and finally rounding it all up is Glass Cannon on the Kai and Spark of Power on Malachi's Mako.
Yeah, pretty satisfactory draft for both these teams, especially with leadership back in rotation. Having two players able to scale with that leadership could be the difference maker, but right now the difference being made is the fact that P was taken off the board from beating Kappa, but the power play not able to convert the second barrier yet. Barrage goes wide and the core drifts into dead space. Era's back online here, and Crimson, it's their turn to get something rolling here. Triple take, keeping it forward, and that's the back from Perfect Pitch. There's equalization now here, and Malachi just misses bot's side, but wins the second strike war. Second barrier falls, and a little bit of miscommunication there. Zakor just waltzes into the net basically for free.
This is a bit of an ancient reference, but when one lock Gruner strike shot doesn't work, you just use 3 lock Gruner straight shots, and not strike shot, but straight shots, as Malachi just recognizes that Lindis was on improper strike timing from whiffing the earlier one, and just keeps striking it directly back towards the goal, and it just goes in. You don't have the strike up and ready to go, and Malachi recognizing that after all the hours he's put into the game shows that sometimes you just got to strike it at the goalie and make them make the unforced error for the goal.
Yeah, exactly, and a lot of errors being made here with that hasty flip from Imperfections, trying to beat out Malachi here, but Lindis using theirs as well, can't even save that barrier, and it's another open net situation for Seraphim Crimson. Malachi, though, face taking the turret, gets staggered for it, so does Speed and Kappa off the Perfect Pitch. Very dangerous situation, has to use it or lose it here. Not a lot of cooldowns being committed to kill him. Meanwhile, X taken off the map here, and unfortunately Imperfections leaves their post with the Cyber Swipe, trying to be proactive in the face of the Maelstrom. Unfortunately doesn't pan out for them, and Crimson take their second goal.
The solo queue average Aimi play of striking the core and then blinking forward to try and get the core past somebody, and unfortunately they just strike it a little too early, and now you're out of position. And unfortunately out of position in that spot means you lose the goal and the point. And now Crimson is up 2-0 in this set, despite having a pretty convincing win against them in the previous set.
Yeah, but if there's any consolation, Malachi just whiffed their flip, and Energy Econ was going to be in their favor, but my god, the cat was trapped in the ensnare drums and gets taken off the map, and Malachi almost able to sink that barrier in, but Lindis, omnipresent there in that situation, walking the core now, not good enough. Aimi's back online, but the out is cleared, covered by Pewis there, and the second barrier does fall. It's Seraphim Crimson now with the set points here, can't get it into that corner, into that position where they wanted to. Hugo has to burn that flip there to the face of the sentry turret. This communication here with the clears, trying to find the most opportune angle, but the goalie gets caught in the ensnare drums, and the core gets fed into it, and that is a little bit of a doomed situation, and Crimson roars back, taking this set 3-0.
Yeah, when you can't slap the person in the face, the power of Mako forward comes in the form of throwing the triangle into the net and forcing the goalie to deal with the geometry of it all and all the extra hitboxes. And rewarded now is Malachi with a spark of agility. Now this Mako's going to be strong and fast, and with leadership still on the table, it threatens one of the strongest picks possible in upcoming drafts. But we do get Team Player here. Team Player making a comeback in the midfield's hands is always a good sign. Aerials for Era, always a great pick. Among Titans for the side of Hooked on Catgirls, and this means larger Aimi dashes, larger X abilities, and just overall more presence for all of them. Finally, Missile Prop and Extra Special for the X.
Yeah. A little bit of an interesting draft here as Lindis fully specs into this speed build. A little bit awkward though with Malachi so willing to punch them and get all that speed taken off. So far Goth Cats, they have the pressure right now, trying to sink in that second barrier, and a nice bull rush into X Maximus will confirm it. Lindis getting bot side here. Malachi with the speed gate rushes to cover it. And that's a blunder there. And Malachi wins that duel. Bot side, perfect pitch, sinking it in, and Crimson take the first point.
Just a bit of a sneaky strike there, finding the bottom corner, and with that extra power, that 54 power from the Mako, means that core's going to go a lot faster, so you have a lot less time to react to any sort of sneaky strikes like that. And Malachi loves to take those weights into the bottom corner shots, but this point is getting so explosive I can't even finish my thought, and it's almost over.
Yeah, power play now for Hooked on Goth Cats. A nice flip from Hugo, and very patient, but unfortunately can't find the clear. Navigated the cyber swipe, but Lindis covering the out, feeding it right back to Kappa, and he's able to sink it top side. And Goth Cats, very good point for them. Look at the energy economy. It's very decidedly in their favor, and if they can try and get something going here with these flips, it might be a second point in quick succession. Imperfections flipping, trying to get something started, but Hugo there with all that speed, able to cover it. Gravity well now, trying to push it forward, and Lindis there, also fast. 3 speed, or I guess gears and awakenings, covering everything all the time, going upside here, but no! Close to the edge there is P-Wiz taken off the map, feeding Kappa with the same combo, has a flip to work with here, and uses it, but unfortunately the barriers cover it for just enough. It doesn't matter though, as all 3 members swarm it in the end, and Goth Cats take their second point.
And that's one of the powers of Goth Cat's team right now. The side of Crimson doesn't really have a great way to threaten somebody that's sitting close to the edge. So Goth Cats can just keep the core along the edge, force people into these bad scenarios, and they have 2 forms of dash punch. You saw right there that Kappa tried to go for one but got knocked out of it by the flip as Malachi saw it coming in. And now, though Goth Cats are on the back foot, they always have the ability to throw the core into the bottom and keep it out of the hands of the enemy forwards.
And Imperfections back to being healthy, and has a flip to work with here, just has to get that core into the goal net, and using it there, almost had a cheeky night market angle, but Hugo very aware of it. The only dangerous angle with both the forwards covering the direct option, and now the core finally able to wander into Goth Cat's territory, but missed strike force means it's all over for them. Seraphim Crimson, several Lindis pushing up, acting like the midfield, and it pays off as Kappa able to strike reset with the X Maximus, and back and forth this set is going, but Goth Cats take the second one.
Kappa is so big that they can just sit right there in the center area, and it forces Hugo and P-Wiz to keep it in one corner, and that allows Goth Cats to just collapse into the corner, and even in that case allow their goalie to find that pressure and then force the core into an open spot that Kappa can just strike it in with strike and ult. And here we are. Here's Big Fish. This X is enormous. The Aimee has to deny Spark the leadership, but she doesn't mind getting some of those stats. And Kai actually takes the speed away from Era, but it doesn't matter because Super Surge is there. It's just, Era's got a fast build, and Kai's got some fast builds going on, but this X, that's already been proving to score quite well, is now enormous. How do you get this core around this guy? Look at that.
The answer is you don't. Bellringer into the strike reset. Both barriers down. It's a McDouble for Goth Cats, who are just outmaneuvering Seraphim Crimson, it seems like, but that was very dangerous. Goth Cats fortunate that only resulted in one barrier being lost there, and we working top side here. P was just dumping it into the corner, but the clear is found. It's in the hands of Feeding Kappa, who almost finds a kill, and unfortunately we'll have to settle with this forward pressure. And that's a trade he's willing to take. Staggered, but still finds the goal in the end. Goth Cat striking first for this 4th set.
And just a slightly misangled clear there from Hugo means that the giant X can grab it from out of the void and throw it into your goal box anyway. He doesn't care if he's going to lose at children's card games. He'll play the game from the Shadow Realm with the size he's got right now.
Yeah, towering over the entirety of Seraphim Crimson, but Imperfections beating their post once again, and that's a free shot for Malachi. Seraphim Crimson, open net situation for them, feeding it forward, but can't find the finishing touch here. A lot of dead space, free out clears for Goth Cats as they're looking to swarm top side, but it's Malachi fast with a flip, and Lindis uses their first 3 flips used in a quick succession just to hold on. Fourth, my goodness, everybody flipping, trying to keep their dreams alive. Unfortunately for them, Seraphim Crimson, their second barrier drops, and so does the goalie off a glitch pop. Power play now for Goth Cats, feeding Kappa. Gets another one, and it's just Peewis all alone with no cooldowns to help supplement the defense. Gave it their all, but my goodness, Goth Cats making everything happen for them.
And that was good pressure from Goth Cats to force Yugo into such a situation that they're going to take so much damage. And one of the only downsides to running the Fini goalie is just how little HP she has and how pressured she can be with the right amount of damage in her face. And that forces Yugo into, look, even another similar spot. Here they are, another KO. And with the flipping ready to go, they're almost gonna close this game out. But oh no, they lose the barrier even amongst the power play, and with no energy, how do they make this happen? Here comes the barrage, and right into the strike, and there they go, Goth Cats, with the extreme pressure they were able to put on with this massive X and the typical Imi Kai pressure. It's just too much to handle for Seraphim Crimson, and Goth Cats take it.
Yeah, the towering size from X and then the speed on Imi and Kai. I mean, Lindis was just pushing up, not a care in the world. And I mean, why would you have one? You got Mom Boots, Glass Cannon, among Titans. You have all the speed in the world just to get the core before Crimson can get anything set up. And with X disrupting the tempo by finding all these kills, it was just a bit of a checkmate situation for Seraphim Crimson. They could never get anything started, and Goth Cats really min-maxing their builds, using them to the fullest, and keeping Seraphim Crimson on the back foot.
I feel like I could hear Dropletto from the ethers just like quietly whispering to himself, X-Lore, X-Lore, X-Lore. This was Kappa's game to lose, and they were not looking to lose it. 5 KOs, 8 goals, and it doesn't even matter. 88 redirects, who cares? They knew the midfielder and goalie were going to get the core to them, and they just took over the game once they got too big.
Yeah, we'll play from Goth Cats, and when we come back, it's going to be more OSAS finale, so don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. Hello, everybody, and we are back with more OSAS finale. And we just saw Seraphim Crimson, but they're facing off against It's Cooked. And both these teams are in a relatively cooked situation, 0-2 so far. And if they want any chance of moving forward, I believe this is a must win for both these teams. Heading on to Taiko Temple, the Heart Attack map for Seraphim Crimson. And they do not have that Mako. Instead, they have the X era with the Luna goalie. So definitely looking to damage, trying to get some power plays going, especially with Ad Rush and Built Div start.
And with the recent patch, Luna's knockback actually was hit pretty hard. Not her damage, she still does just as much damage as before, but the amount of distance that her primary and secondary move you now at base level is a fair bit lower. So not able to get those cross-map dash punches that you see a lot of people do, such like 3Z Breezy, ZZZ, things like that, and others like Vaughn. Luna's still probably a powerhouse in terms of the damage market, and with X and Era there to throw even more damage their way, it could prove to be a damage special here. But one problem with Luna is she kind of struggles against a team like Rasmus Estelle, the classic double scorer composition here on the other side. So we'll see which team can find their win condition and push towards it.
Yeah, and here we go. Right off the bat, it's Seraphim Crimson here. Nice corner offense off the missile, off the speed boost from Era here. And they're able to take Barrier in a quick succession here. It's now on to It's Cooked to try and equalize, but missed Strike Wars in the middle. And Malachi able to force it back into that corner. Bell Ringer, X Maximus being popped here. The offense continues to roar in their favor, but unfortunately they can't find that finishing touch so far. All they have is a lot of damage. Estelle taken off that map. There goes 8th. And a lot of Strike Wars not panning out for It's Cooked. And Malachi able to punch it in.
And there it is. There's the damage and the adrenaline rush coming for this Luna, allowing, although it didn't really seem to play much of an effect once it actually procced, it doesn't matter because Luna was there and in position, and here they go, getting the two barriers, and what a secondary there to just find that core back forward to the X who has the energy burst and just throws it into the bottom corner, and 10-second point.
10-second point on Taiko Temple seems like an absolutely foreign idea, but when you think about it, they're winning the kickoffs very quickly thanks to this Era speed boost and just dumping it into that corner like so, and they're just rolling with it into the corner again off the boost with the bewitching beam. It's a little bit too much. Both barriers fall in a quick succession again here. And now Seraphim Crimson, open net situation. P was looking a little bit low. The core is in their territory for the first time in a long time. You go missing the insta-proc though. But still, it keeps it forward. The job is done. Hugo passing up to Malachi, who can't get his hands on it. Stragus with the flip, can't use it though. X Maximus locking them in hit stun. My goodness, Seraphim Crimson, quick, 3-0 set take.
Yugo and Pewis are also finding some incredibly good strike finds, just finding these strikes right to Master X Malachi. So Malachi doesn't even have to think about the play necessarily, just basically always has the core in his hand, is able to make this happen. And here comes the Fight or Flight X, opting for the speed over the size. This X is going to be everywhere at the speed boost from Era and Fight or Flight.
Yeah, and Spark of Leadership up for grabs as well. Interesting to see. Not a soul taking it so far. Maybe this is Estelle will. I'm looking for it because that's a dangerous build. And there it is. A lot of stats now for It's Cooked, who desperately needs something to play for. But right now, I mean, we have a large Era. We have a fast X. Things so far riding the high for Seraphim Crimson.
Yeah, one of the keys to Era's midfielding potential and just defensive potential in general is the fact that she can make you smaller and herself larger. And now when she's already way larger than you, it just makes that job even easier. But a great pendulum swing from Laplation finds the goal there, and there it is. That's the combo of Rasmus Estelle. Just the double primary in the face of Luna. Luna has no way to deal with that a lot of the time.
Yeah, Luna ill-equipped, and it seems like these points are being decided off kickoff. Whoever gets their offense rolling first just seems like they're snowballing uncontrollably, and it's in the hands of Seraphim Crimson now. Hugo trying to work this spot side with the boost, but it's Appalachian with the breakaway with the Whiplash, and they take that first barrier. But again, Malachi with the core. Look at how fast this X is moving. X Maximus pop Witching Beam, all that utility, and it pays off tenfold. Both barriers taken here. Seraphim Crimson on the up and up, winning Strike Wars in its hands on Malachi off the Taiko drum, and it gets sent top side, and Seraphim Crimson converts.
Luna might be the one wanting to go to space, but X is already in space. Space gliding all over them is Malachi right now with the slick kicks and the fighter fly, just winning strike war after strike war, being in a spot where the core just doesn't get around him, and making these goals happen using this awakening. What plays we're seeing from the team of Crimson, and particularly Malachi.
Yeah, but that was Yugo there, covering out with the boost. Both barriers falling once more, 2 flips to work with, and although they lose one barrier here, that defensive hold is gonna do the job. Both flips committed though. Nice rose warp there. Perfect pitch. All 3 members now, or 2, because Strage is not being touched. A little bit worse for wear here, and snare drums, drumming bass, just trying to get the core away, but that X so large, and Laplation taken off the board here, passing up to Pewis. There's the magical maelstrom, but unfortunately the core just not cooperating with what they're trying to do. Yugo now into the fray, and that chaos is just what Seraphim Crimson need to sink in this second point.
And that was one of those scenarios that, like, you basically had to pick your target in the goal line, and Crimson chose that Estelle, because once that core is on top of her, kind of similar to Aimee, she just doesn't have the tools. She wants to keep it away before it even gets to her, and they just force it in Estelle's face 6-7 times, and eventually that wall is going to break.
Yeah, and we're a little bit of a first-time situation here, 1-to-1 in the barriers, but it's into the corner of Seraphim Crimson, and 8th is able to sink it in, and that's a Whiplash to follow up off the bounce from the bot corner. Ablation and 8th, whenever they're getting the core to the other side, it's really problematic for Luna, Yugo, who just doesn't have the tools to deal with their coverage.
Yeah, it takes Malachi coming all the way back and running the triple defense. Oh my god, almost a double barrier there. And then an unfortunate spacing means loss of barrier and loss of life for the Era. And here comes the hook, and great patience to let the core go past. Into the top corner is Laplation, and scores them this set from the jaws of what felt like defeat.
Great tenacity, great grit from It's Cooked. And if there's a spark here, and there is, all 3 members likely to become extremely fast, pending a deny, but no, we're just gonna take it right away. And there's a lot of damage here up for grabs, up for this X, who correctly does take Might of Colossus, in my opinion. It's just gonna be a huge force to be reckoned with.
This is such a nasty draft. You have the Spark of Leadership getting a spark. You have a size. You have Might of Colossus going to X. You have double size going to Rasmus. Extra special or Manu available for the Era, opting for the extra special. And Luna had extra special or spec training available to him. It's just, what a crazy draft. Everyone just got Omega Gig Abyss and now has to try and use it expertly.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Yugo, not an expert usage of that boost. One barrier down, but Laplation staggered. That recovery drone already procced because Bell Ringer just covers an entire lane. This X is massive. Slow playing it, can't get that fortunate bounce, but it's working bot side, and they're able to recover. Malachi down and out for the count. Very battered and bruised here, but does his job, gets both barriers, and now it's up to Pewis and Yugo to hold until he's healthy enough, get back into the play. And so far, good job from Laplation in 8th, keeping it in the corner, but a rare blunder. Strages was seeing red, and it just waltzes right by Laplation, and that's a cheeky goal for Seraphim Crimson.
And Malachi survives the encounter, which could be bad or good depending on who you're looking at. No energy here for the X, but it doesn't matter. Life is intact, cooldown's intact, and goal is scored. The double size Era against the double size Rasmus is proving that. Sorry, the double size for Era is proving to be extremely good against this double size Rasmus, and a great flip to save that double barrier there from Yugo.
Yeah, Hugo holding it down when he needs to, but definitely wants to supplement this offense more as Luna goalie. And what a weird dash. Hello, Lablation taken outside of the map here, and it's ETH with a flip. Wise to use it, buy some precious seconds here for Lablation back online, and that power play wasn't very fruitful, but my goodness, the space from Crater Maker, that was useful. And it's Seraphim Crimson with a weary X, but both barriers down.
Oh man, the Rose Rep almost led to the goal, and unfortunately an own barrier from Hugo with Master X Malachi dead, it doesn't matter because the power of Rasmus Estelle compels you, and there goes the secondary into the bottom corner. Not sure if that was necessarily an intentional angle, but it doesn't matter. The goal is scored, and now it's 1-1 in the set.
Yeah, and I think the win con here, besides the synergy between Eighth and Lablation, is trying to beat up Malachi while he's trying to convert these points, because both of their goals, or their one goal, that's just disastrous. But as I was saying, their goals have been off the back of this X just not being a factor, a concern for them. But I mean, very concerning gameplay from It's Cooked, as the core somehow is able to slip by drum and bass, and that's the second goal for Seraphim Crimson.
The X era just wants to keep this core in that corner, force them to deal with X's size, deal with Era's pressure and beams and NATOs, and make these plays happen, and just keep the core always on the enemy side. But when they're able to get this X off the field and out of the play, they're able to get these offenses going. And even though they're both staggered, they still run the risk of scoring here. Era's not really the kill monster that you would think she is. And it doesn't matter though. She's the strike war monster for sure, and that is an unfortunate strike from Strages to right into the Era, and unfortunately not flipping either to save that, as that is the set for Crimson there. And that strike could cost them everything now.
Yeah, and I mean, Mako forced to take the Deadeye here, but with Missile Prop Strike Shot, not a bad pick in the slightest. And I'm looking at that Spark of Strength. If they let ETH get that spark, which they don't, thank God, that would have been really, really dangerous. But I mean, scraps here really for these brawlers. Prime time on the X. We're going to sacrifice a little bit of kill power, but I mean, more CDR means more damage and a lot more control, because have you seen this man swing his arms? It covers an entire lane of play.
X one of the brawlers that actually loves having prime time, because Bellringer just takes up so much space, and being able to take up that space multiple times in a row is a great thing, but a great thing also for It's Cooked, because getting that double barrier despite having a staggered Rasmus means they now have an offense against an open goal Luna.
Yeah, it's not a situation you want to be in, and it's only made worse as Malachi taken off the field here. It's now ETH working it like magic. Nice setup, great patience, and the piercing shot piercing the core and Hugo. That's a first goal here for It's Cooked.
Yeah, I would have loved to see an evade clear there, but it doesn't matter because Eighth was able to find the piercing shot timing into the Luna, and like we were saying, Luna just doesn't have the tools to deal with that. And there's another piercing shot to get the double barrier off the back of the speedy Rasmus, and now we're on another open net situation against a Luna, though they don't have flip this time.
Yeah, would have been a great time to use it there. I think Hugo was banking on the fact that the Maelstrom would have covered it, but it was still forming, and ETH punches it, and a little bit of miscommunication there from Seraphim Crimson, and they're already down one barrier here off a cheeky Taiko drum angle.
Already down one barrier because of this Mako. This speed coming out from the Mako is starting to get a little intense and overpowering. The Era doesn't have the cooldowns to keep up with that, and despite having the size, is struggling to find it past the midfield when they can get it forward. But now here they go into the corner, but great clear gets them out of there, and now we're kind of back into a neutral situation.
Yeah, neutral state vying for control in the midfield here, and ETH saved by the Taiko drum, almost taken off the map. Two flips used from Seraphim Crimson. It doesn't matter. Response to Appellation. The clear was covered here, and a nice strike shot, but Hugo just barely able to make it back in time there. Appellation now battered and bruised, trying to hold on to their life recovery drone already proc, but it's in the hands of an Estelle. Fortunately, no cooldowns to supplement it here. Strages just sends it right back to him. Ablation staggered, but covering everything with the whiplash. The core's going every which way. So hard to track. And unfortunately, it goes in for Seraphim Crimson, and its cup will take us to a set 5.
Both sides there just struggling to keep up with the core and just striking wherever their mouse happened to be pointed. And unfortunately, Yugo's mouse is pointed right at the Rasmus, and the Rasmus just points it right back at Yugo and throws it right into the goal. What a crazy point there. And now they get the Spark of Focus Deny here onto their Spark user. Big draft here for the side of Crimson. They get to get rid of that Spark build, or they get to get rid of that Spark stacking on the Estelle, and a lot of other good awakenings coming out here. More speed for Era, more power for X. It feels like everyone's just getting really good awakenings, and it's gonna come down to the team play and ultimately just how they play the game in general to make these points happen.
Yeah, and an interesting pickup, Ablation, getting a lot of survivability now with Reptile Remedy. And we'll get to see its effects very soon because he's not interacting with the core in the slightest. It's just being dumped into the corner again and again. But thankfully, he rotates back in time, gets that out clear for a Malachi, now the one in dire straits, and he's taken off the map. Yugo trying to cover things with his boost, not going to matter there. That's a bit of a checkmate with the Crystal Thorns and the piercing shot, trying to center it into Laplation, but no! Now it's Eth who's the one who's staggered. Worse for wear here, waits out the pendulum swing as Yugo, but doesn't account for the piercing shot. That's Ristel for you, and it's cooked. Their first lead, I believe, in this series.
First lead, but it's looking like if you discounted some of the other sets, it looks like they've been taking over this game. They just keep making Malachi unable to play the game, unable to allow this team to play to their win condition, and just getting rid of the big guy. You know what? Raid boss down. Who needs to fight if you don't have to deal with the boss anymore? But a flip from Yugo kills the Estelle. What is going on?
Utter pandemonium on the field as Malachi's back online, but the boost goes wide. There's a flip from Peewis, able to trade that bear, keep the offense going. Crater Maker, Strange is forced out of the play, and that's Seraphim Crimson capitalizing in what, 7 seconds that ETH was taken off? Incredible from them.
I almost don't blame Stratus for that because Luna was coming in and X was approaching, and with no evade, you kind of want to just play your life there maybe and just move on to the next point. Some points really feel inevitable, and if you're trying to sacrifice your resources to save the point, if it's not the last point, sometimes it can come back to bite you. But points or not, it's currently 1-1, tied up with both sets, and both teams just trying to figure out what to do. Malachi pushed out of the play yet again, getting tossed around, but it doesn't matter because Peewis is 1v3ing right now.
He was working that topside corner. The clear is eventually found, but Yugo sets him right back up for greatness here. Craziness with the Taiko angle and the Rosework not quite connecting. Recovery drone is proc there, avoids the power play, but that second barrier does fall. Malachi a little bit damaged here, but that open net there for Seraphim Crimson, and Snare Drums connects onto the core and it goes red. Appellation now with a 1 in a 1v2, and he is able to convert because Yugo boost goes a little bit awry there, and it's an open net situation. There's a flip from Stranges! But he's reaction checked by old man Malachi, and he's able to sink it in.
Malachi with the Sekiro parry right there, just noticing that there's an Estelle waiting in the bottom for it and just saying, you know what? Nah, I'd strike. And takes that strike away, gets that point, and this puts him in a good position. Malachi has been pressured at this point. Flip coming out from Yugo to protect the goal, and now here they are. They get an offense, they get a play. The boost even keeping the play forward. And the tornado setting it up, but no Malachi present means no barrier quite yet. It's really struggling. Everyone's in the corner. Everything's going crazy.
Everyone's in the corner, and offense still continuing, but finally the outclear is found. Laplation, though, on death's door here. If there's a confirm to be found, it's going to be onto him. Got a power play going, but Eighth in that corner of the midfield, shining, stepping up when their brawlers are out of it. And Yugo, the one setting up for that point. And that's Flip in the middle with the Bull Rush. You can't really stop that confirm. And Seraphim Crimson, heart attack averted on the Taiko Temple. This is the start of their comeback, the start of their qualification into the next rounds. of OSAS finale, but unfortunately for It's Cooked, sinking back down to 0-3. A lot of work to be done for them, but I mean, that was a really, really close game. Not over for them because they have the star power to come back into this for sure.
And I was a little critical of the flip there. It felt a little too early, but it didn't matter because Pivas had the NATO set up ready to go, party in the seas, and Master X Malachi was able to see that NATO and just throw it right against it, and there was just almost no saving that unless you evade and stand in the NATO's path. So just good teamwork set up from there to secure them that point and secure them that game and secure their ability to keep trying to get into the finals here.
Yeah, when we come back, looks like we're hovering Laggin' Ladders versus Chikara Clinkers on the other side of pools. So don't go anywhere because that's sure to be a heater. Hello, everybody, and unfortunately, I'm a chronic liar because instead of lagging laggers versus clinkers, we have for you God's Strongest Shoulders and Chikara Fantasy. So, can't count on me to predict the next match nor hold it down in the goal arc, but these goalies definitely can do it better than me. And I mean, Chikara Fantasy, what a stacked team they got. Displacer Cat in the goalie, Social Fox in the midfield, 70 Pirates on the forward. It's absolute cinema from them, but God's Strongest Soldiers, definitely not a team to scoff at either. They have pulled off some incredible upsets, big names on their team as well, and we're headed once again to Taiko Temple, but this time got a Glass Cannon address start, so either we're going to see power play diffs or some speed gates happening here, in my opinion.
Possibly. This is the most previous patch looking game that I've ever seen. No era present, a lot of picks that most everyone would play, and even Awakening start that you would see in the last patch here. And only so the entire side of God's Strongest Strikers deciding to be strong and go at the Adrenaline Rush, whereas the other team only going one Adrenaline Rush on the Zentaro. So it's going to be a battle of the speed versus the KO potential. And we'll see which team can eke out the win here.
Yeah, and so far, Chikara Fantasy pulling ahead here. Kama Crystal trying to work this bot corner, but Social Fox, beautiful interference. And my goodness, the Ghost almost taken out of play here with the Oni's Blade, but Slice and Dice, that's going to do that instead here. And it's a power play now for Chikara Fantasy. A flip in the corner, Ad Rush is procced. And my goodness, that is a snowball into half for Chikara Fantasy.
You almost have to wonder if Fantasy could have taken the Adrenaline Rush with the amount of damage Zentaro and Juno are able to put out on somebody. And on a low HP character like Ghost Kai, they could try and get these procs faster and faster each round. But it's really just going to come down if they're able to coordinate that damage and get that KO in the first place.
So far, though, Chikara Fantasy coordinating their offense. Drum and bass going awry almost there, but the outclear is found. And both the forwards now for God's Strongest Soldiers looking incredibly feeble. Kama Crystal staggered and Ghost close to it. And oh my gosh, one's taken off and Kama Crystal sent for a ride, just barely holding on to their life. It's a power play now for... Never mind, it was a power play. No, it still is. 2v2 now as Ghost comes online, but Social Fox able to make that second barrier fall here. It's Ghost with the breakaway here, baits the pendulum swing, but can't find the conversion. And both the forwards now back up for these teams. For Chikara Fantasies, they still got a barrier to work with, while God's Strongest Soldiers do not.
Oh, but they just lost their barrier after the missed pendulum swing there from Displacer Cat. The Caster's Curse coming into full effect here, but a Zentaro with the core in the center of the field against a Mako with Strike Shot. It's just easy setups for the Zentaro to try and get past this Mako, who really wants that core to be more on top of her to keep her defense going. And now with 2 points in the set, Fantasy threatened to try and take away Critical Awakenings or look to try and just leverage their advantage even more.
Yeah, and with Hotshot back on rotation, Social Fox prime for an MVP. Most experience gained here. Displacer Cat sending it off top side here. And Social Fox very close to death there, but a nice flip trying to reactivate this offense. Displacer Cat uses theirs to keep both barriers alive. Kama Crystal, though, dribbles, finds one barrier, dash punch, very close to taking the second one, not using it, though. And we're still going to work this bot side corner here. Out clear is found here. Shushen Ghost now on defense here. Strike Core's one. The defense holds for now. Drum and bass, there it is. And a nice out clear. Avoiding the bobs, avoiding the rush, but can't avoid that flip from 70 Pirates. And it's Kurtz now. Worse for wear. And is taken off the map. Goalie is down. Address is proc. 70 Pirates doing everything. And lays up Social Fox for a very clean goal. That's domination from Fantasy.
And the amount of damage that's coming up for Fantasy means that the Juno and the Rasmus get to just stay on full stacks of Glass Cannon for longer and longer, as the Kai and the Juliet just don't have the large amount of damage AoE presence. And here it is, Hotshot Juno. We're back in it. It's Juno's time to reign supreme in the midfield with this speed. And with the KOs already coming from the Zentaro, the prizefighter pickup is even more deadly.
Yeah, we're just picking up scraps here for God's Strongest Soldiers. That Kai left with less than ideal picks here, but I mean, 70 Pirates and Social Fox got extremely potent awakenings on them, and they're just gonna look to snowball even further. There's the hot shot, just sending that core red. So dangerous to have that when it's not overtime, and I mean that core speed coming into play there as it just waltzed right across Katyusha, and both barriers fall in a quick succession. But now Kama Crystal trying to dash punch, make something happen. It goes wide though. It's an open net situation here, and that EI rush finds its mark. 70 Pirates on point, securing that first goal.
And Social Fox is just taking advantage of the speed here, winning the strike wars by having the speed from Glass Cannon and the slick kicks. And then whenever they don't have the speed or don't have the positioning through the speed, they have the Blobos. And the Blobos send it at Mach 20, but here we go. This is the first adverse proc for a long time for the side of God's Strongest Strikers. And here they get the barrier off this power play. Can they convert for the score here? Yes, they can. A great play. The dash punch whiffed, but it doesn't matter. The barrage pushes it into the corner. And with the Juliet covering with the fiery flurry, it was just an inevitable goal at that point.
Yeah, and the kill on 70 Pirates, very instrumental. That prize fighter is now a dead awakening on the Centauro, and 0 stacks. So, this is a huge break for God's Strongest Soldiers. Might try and snowball a little bit harder here because the Centauro doesn't have a second awakening here. But so far, this core is still in their territory. A nice flip from Katyusha, better Death's Touch. Still can't save that topside barrier though, and Slice and Dice quick to equalize here. The core is going out. Social Fox is covering it. The blobs are working too, but Kurtz finds another excellent clear, holding rock solid on this defense, but it's still in the corner. The ultimate clear can't be found. It's falling into the hands of either 70 Pirates or Social Fox. Offense continues, and not every strike war can be won. 70 Pirates sinks it in once again.
Whoa, that was really confusing. It looked like Kurtz actually struck that up, but Zentaro just kind of yoinked it out of their hands and threw it into the goal anyway. And goal scored, set point now for Fantasy as they threaten to take even more critical awakenings. If I'm not mistaken, 1-2 punch is still in the rotation, and a 1-2 punch hotshot Juno is looking nigh inevitable here if with this draft. Oh my god, they almost get the goal as I'm talking about the Juno, and the power of the Juno gives them this ability to get those points and get these awakenings that they need.
Yeah, and 70 Pirates has been really hounding on Katyusha. Kurtz, it's an open net situation for them. That blob almost setting up Pirates beautifully. Unfortunately, the angle was not quite there. Core drifting into a favorable position. Katyusha Kurtz dumping every single cooldown in the book, trying to save it. It's match point for them for this set. Snare drums, Ghost now with the core, sending it top side here. Double angle there for Crystal, can only find the one though, and now it's in the hands of Fox. 70 Pirates, they're working top side here. Nice split from Katyusha, keeping God's Strongest Soldiers in it. Nice patience there, able to wait it out just long enough. There's a flip on this Juliet should they need to use it, but they're just looking to send it top side into this sort of free space that all the teams can fight for here. They have first contact here. Displacer Cat, the cheeky angle, gets around both forwards here, and it's Social Fox in a beautiful position, and that friend fling flings the core into the goal, and Chikara Fantasy take their second set.
That goal felt almost inevitable. Fantasy, even when they didn't necessarily have their hands on the core, it just felt like they always had the presence and always had the potential. And wow, I reversed Caster's Curse, Social Fox, because the 1-2 punch here, but not taken. Choosing to take the fighter flight over the speed, opting to allow the Zentaro to grab the 1-2 punch instead. Interesting choice here, but we'll see if they're able to utilize it and get these prize fighter stacks going on the Zentaro.
Yeah, scratching their heads a little bit here. This God's Strongest Soldiers just trying to get any picks. Really, survivability is what I'm looking at here. That's a lot of power on this Juliet. They're able to find one dash punch and basically null 70 Pirates prize fighter, but that was just the one time, and they're going to need more of that if they want to get back into this. So far, core control, core speed, all in the hands of Chikara Fantasy, trying to set themselves up. Social Fox can't win the strike wars in the midfield, and that's a Flame Flurry getting that first barrier. Dash punch confirming the second. Kama Crystal online out of nowhere. Both these barriers down and out of counts. but it wanders back into Kurt's territory. Drum and Bass committed just to keep it away from there, working top side. Ghost sends it bot with the barrage, and that's the checkmate and a half. Barrage into dash punch, and a nice find for God's Strongest Soldiers.
Barrage not even necessary. Ghost just taking the step back and knowing that Social Fox is going to try to strike it down and away. Strikes it right into position for Kama Crystal to get that dash punch. And God's Strongest Soldiers trying to make this work despite all the damage that's coming this way. Ghost has basically just been playing the orb game, using Kai's speed to run around and grab every orb that pops up every 15 seconds. Just stay alive against this Zentaro, threatening death at every moment.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it's 70 Pirates taken out. Prize Fighter dead once more. It's a power play now for God's Strongest Soldiers. Ad rush proc on Kama Crystal. That dash punch is online. Can't find the core with it though. Still, that second barrier falls, but so does Ghost. Off the flip, and all of a sudden it's a complete reversal. Core now in the hands of Social Fox, trying to set up 70 Pirates with that perfect pitch, perfect in the corner. It will find the clear, and Ghost now back online. Kama Crystal now has a flip to work with. It's gonna get to them eventually, but the question is when, because right now Social Fox and Pirates doing a great job keeping it into the field of Kachusa Kurtz, who has taken so much damage out of nowhere. And there's a core speed coming into play. Hot shot plus overtime. Absolutely lethal combo to have on this Juno. And it sends into their goal. God's Strongest Soldiers now tied 1-1.
Plus Taiko Drum to add on to the speed and make it silent. Whenever the core goes red off a Taiko Drum, it doesn't actually make the whistle sound. It makes the drum sound. And wow, by the time I even finished that, 10 seconds later, they have both barriers and the point. Just unable to find the midfield plays as Ghost, and Kurt's just not able to keep it up with the cooldowns run down eventually for that Mako, even with the twin drive. And they're just able to strike it around and strike it in. And the power of this Juno Zentaro is really starting to come to bear, even more so now. Just tons of core control, tons of damage, and tons of field presence.
Yeah, every single option for Kurtz is being covered here. And when these forwards are just being taken out of the play, it's so dangerous, so devastating. They're sending the core every which way, but now it's God's Strongest Soldiers trying to make something happen. Fortunately, Kama Crystal can't find the flip there. That second barrier will fall. It's an open net situation. Displacer Cat keeping it upfield, but it's Ghost with the breakaway. Can't find that bot barrier, though. It's Social Fox working with the core now, trying to get it into the hands of their capable forward, but whiffing every strike in the process. A big break for God's Strongest Soldiers, but the dash goes wide again here. Kachusa Kurtz sending it to this Juliet, who's looking extremely low here as a flip, and is going to get it stuffed by the Oni's blade. Still though, the clear is found here, and now it's God's Strongest Soldiers making one barrier fall, but Kama Crystal might not be long for this world here. Death's touch into the flip. There goes Juliet. Power play now. Whiplash. Everything's making the core go red. God's Strongest Soldiers, they need to exercise extreme caution, extreme patience. And so far, they're doing a great job. And they've navigated that power play. Kama Crystal back online. Has some cooldowns. It's Ghost and Social Fox tangoing in the midfield. Sending it every which way. It's 70 Pirates. First contact. No. Gets hit stunned. God's Strongest Soldiers, an extreme display of grit. They're holding on for as long as possible, but the Zentaro can't find that mark either. I'm running out of breath, Nubsta, please take it away.
This core is just going everywhere. Everyone's got so much power, so much speed in an overtime situation and in a tense situation, and there it is, delivering the core right into the pocket of Zentaro, who has the primary ready, and a near unsavable situation in some cases for the Mako to try and snipe it away from the Zentaro. Not able to do it is Kurtz, and able to take this game and put them 4-0 in the round robin is Chikara Fantasy.
Yeah, the war of attrition for that last point won by Chikara Fantasy, and they did everything right that game. I mean, Displacer Cat 31 saves simply because that offense could never get started from the side of God's Strongest Soldiers. Social Fox and 70 Pirates swarming Kachusa Kurtz and Chikara Fantasy, showcasing why they are undefeated in their pool. But that's a wrap for this game. When we come back, crucify me if I'm wrong, it's going to be Laggin' Laggers versus Chikara Clinkers. So please do not go anywhere. We'll be back with another banger. Hello, everybody, and we are back with the fabled laggers versus clinkers. We're now into the promised land, the last round of the round robin here in Lag and Laggers, looking for a sweep. But Chikara Clinkers, probably the team to give them the biggest challenge as we head onto Night Market here with the Reptile Remedy. Might of the Colossus starts. That's very interesting because Might of the Colossus allows you to spec into so many other things and get power for it. But Reptile Remedy is like the survivability awakening for this patch. So I have to see what these players decide to do. Try to live and weather the storm, or just be the storm, really.
And it puts the Brawlers in a bit of a situation too, right? Because Kazan and X both want size and both want Might of the Colossus, but Kazan and X also being the Brawlers means they're the focus of most of the damage, so they also want Reptile Remedy. And now they're put into this choice of, like, you know, the blue pill versus the red pill. Do you go for the KOs and deal with the size? Or do you just try and survive and pick up something else down the way that'll help scale you into the late game? It's a really interesting dichotomy here.
Yeah, and just looking at the pick bands here, Aimi, Vice, and Kazan for the laggers, and Clinkers feel like, yeah, it's going to be Kahone on the Era. Very comfortable with that pick, has piloted it before, and with the buffs, it'll be interesting to see how they hold up in the gold arc, because now they're not locked in such a long, clunky animation. And Swift Deity, Juno X, a lot of damage being dealt by these para forwards, so we'll have to see how they coordinate their damage, because Chocobo Yao and Snowing Halo both took Reptile Remedy here.
Yeah, everyone taking Reptile except the Brawlers means it's kind of be, if you're going for any sort of damage, you're going to want to dump it onto these Brawlers and try and get them out of the game. And with the damage awakenings not present yet, this first set is really just going to come down to who has the core control. And right now, with the Kazan and Aimi, they're looking to try and get these barrier, but Clinkers are the current leaders in terms of barriers.
Yeah, strong start for Clinkers, but Suplex able to equalize the barriers. It's Vic Hook, though, with a flip. All alone, uncontested. Snowing Halo out of the play, and Chocobo Yao just getting back with the eject button. That's an easy shot for Vic Blade, Vic Hook, top side.
And good identifying the Vice using the primary a little too early there means that she can't use it to get the cross shot, and just takes the cross shot right after. But two double barriers for both teams. No barriers allowed in this game. Aimi needing to evade to avoid that tornado, and just a beautiful pass off the secondary teleport to Suplex gets them the goal and ties up the set.
Great coverage from this Vice, just lingering around with the secondary, securing that second bear, and also securing that pass, as you mentioned. And a big part as to why this is possible is not only EB reducing the cooldown, but also in the patch notes. Vice secondary got a lowered cooldown, and Chocobo Yao, not afraid to step up and supplement this offense in the slightest. Supernova, though, will be used defensively, and there she goes. Vice in the midfield, covering every single clear from Kahone. Nice bewitching beam, but unfortunately can't win that strike war there. Suplex sinks another one topside.
Just a little too early on the strike allows Kazan to still reach it with that press the point, even though the nerf, it was the power that was nerf, not the range. And that tiny bit of size means he can reach really far, but
no.
Here comes the NATO, KOs the Brawler, and now they're going to have to use the flip to keep this offense from overwhelming them, but here it comes again as the Juno has to get it past this Aimi, and they lose one barrier, but no big deal for the side of Lag and Laggers after getting that power play against them. And now they get to press this offense against the Era.
Yeah, stave the offense very well. Chocobo Yao trying to intercept out clear, but unfortunately their barrier gets intercepted by that Bell Ringer X Maximus now. Vic Blade looking extremely worse for wear here, might be taken off the map. The targeting coming to fruition, like you said, onto the Brawlers without Reptile Remedy. Falling back, and the offense just dies out completely without the Brawler. It's Kahone now!
Oh.
Trying to step up with the flip, gets punished for it tenfold, and the power play basically refreshing now for Laggers, capitalizing on Kahone overstepping, but the goal is not scored yet. Forwards in the net, they stand stalwart, but Vic Hook, well, again, worse for wear here. Power play probably going to get started again. Flip from Chocobo Yao trying to get something started. And
no.
Extremely unfortunate timing from Kahone. I believe that was just a whiff timing.
No. Did you see the strike shot? It went right into their own goal. They just happened to shoot it directly into the same path that the core was already going and own goaled on their own selves. Oh no, that's so unfortunate. After dying with Flip and then coming back and own goaling for the set. Oh man, they've really got to... Hopefully that doesn't tilt them too much as we get into this first draft here, as Kazan gets another size awakening. Wow, this Kazan is going to get big, and that's like the one thing you don't want Kazan to be in a game. You don't want him to have cooldowns, and you don't want him to be big, and right now Kazan has one of those too.
Yeah, gonna have to tighten up for Clinkers, but solid picks for them. Heavy impact taken away as a deny, but a solid pick for this X. Just more damage, more CDR. Twin drive on this Juno, just trying to cover more out clears. And so far, Clinkers, well, they were trying to get something started working topside, but you can't stray close to the edge. Not when there's a Kazan with so much size hounding you with a nice top spin. But the power play being diffused in the midfield. Great play by Swift Deity and Kahone being proactive there, stuffing out that offense. And so far, both barriers for Clinkers hold, but as I just said, that suplex. Nice combo there. Gets 1 and 2 barriers back to back there. And it's an open net situation for Laggers.
And one thing Era's really strong against is actually your typical brawler, able to shrink them and keep them out of the play. Not really against Kazan with that much size, being able to hook it right back to him and just ignore the fact that Era even exists. But she's generally pretty good at dealing with people who come right at her, that she can shrink and try and clear the core away from them in that regard. But the side of Laggers has an eject button goalie and an IME that can just be everywhere all at once. So the typical ways that Era wants to defend is very difficult to do against this much global pressure from the team of Laggers.
Yeah, and when Chikara Clinkers are trying to get their corner offense started, they have to be careful because Suplex, very ready and willing to capitalize off straying too close to the edge. And he's been so tricky with his angles as well, but Vic Blade, tricky as well. Strikes around the flip, but Kahone with their strike, and that was a crazy setup by Laggers. Suplex flipping in the corner and passing up to the Thunderstruck TP. Very good presence and awareness from Laggers.
And not just that, unfortunately, Keone needs to return the slab. The Curse of Strike Shot actually set up that barrier in the first place and that goal for the team of Laggers. So sometimes the strike shot gives, and sometimes the strike shot takes, and right now it is taking from the Clinkers.
Yeah, but they have been able to take one barrier, and unfortunately, that Storm with the Sentry Turret and Suplex walking up, that barrier is taken, but Vic Blade in the corner there, able to equalize with a flip bull rush. A nice patience from Kahone, waiting out the power cord, and somehow Snowing Halo's flip whiffs as well. This is a huge break for Chikara Clinkers. And that bell ringer rings true, and that's the first point that Clinkers so desperately needs.
Desperate is right, and Clinkers is running into another situation where not only do they not have as much global presence, but they actually don't have a ton of knockback either between the Era and the Juno, whereas the Aimi Vice and Kazan open primary right there, forcing the evade and losing the energy means that they just have to respect the walls, whereas Laggers can use the walls.
Oh.
But a knockback KO anyway from the X here, as the flip has to come out from Keone to prevent the Kazan from doing Kazan things.
Yeah, but still with the core is the Kazan. Chocobo Yao almost able to walk in and secure that goal on this open net here. But Chikara Clinkers hold on for now. They got something going here, but it's Suplex running interference, cutting the passes and cutting the opportunities to find these barriers here. With that strike, that would have been an easy goal for them. But still, so many opportunities for them if they can start winning these strike wars, start coordinating things, because, I mean, Chocobo Yao, look at where they're positioning right now. If that was a clear top side to be found or a pass, that would have been devastating. Sentry Turret in the corner here. Kone returning it back to sender. but it's no use with the cyber swipe finding everybody plus the core, and that's Lag and Laggers going up 2-0.
And does Kazan get another size awakening? No, but instead Kazan gets the next best thing in a prime time. Prime time 1.5 size Kazan is probably one of the scariest thing an Era goalie could ever go up against. Even with the shrink, this Kazan's still going to be decent size. And if the Kazan just avoids the shrink, this Era has nothing to deal with that. The hook strikes, the open primary, the pop-up swaps. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. And Vice gets the hot shot. And Timeless on the IME. Lag and Laggers is eaten well this draft.
Eating well, but Swift Deity has Twin Drive and has a Dash Awakening, so these jumps could be the key for Chikara Clinkers to just catch the goalie off guard, sort of like that, but unfortunately Swift Deity a little bit too far to capitalize off it. Nice crooked leverage from Suplex, but the turret goes a little bit wide. Doesn't matter though, it stays online for so long still though. Nice clears found by Swift Deity and Big Blade. They're walking back, trying to supplement this defense because they know Kahone can't really deal with Kazan without that Bewitching Beam. And that's just giving Lag and Laggers all the space in the world to step up and just try and try again to find these barriers. But so far, it's a big hook striking with the strike reset. X Maximus able to find one barrier here. There's that Bewitching Beam staving off the offense for now. And a TP! Oh, it's beautiful from Chikopo Yao. And there's that second barrier gone in an instant. It's Swift Deity now in a one-on-one with the blobs to help. A little bit of a lagging situation there. Hello, but something Chikara Clinkers will desperately take. Everything being used on the defense here while the goalie's internet tries to stabilize. But we have two flips to work with here on the side of Clinkers, and they have a team player in overtime. This is their best opportunity yet if they can just get something going here, and the core's going red. It forces a flip, and Kahone able to walk where they need to, uses that flip in a good timing. Vic Blade has theirs, but they find a clear top side, and Suplex with a flip now. Unfortunately, a little bit of greed from Vic Blade probably needed to use there and just get it out of the goal net, but well played from Lag and Laggers, covering everything as they typically do.
And Suplex having to run back during that lore situation of poor Chocobo Yao lagging there, saving the goal and then eventually getting it with the flip. Good patience from Suplex to keep that flip until the perfect scenario to have her press the point shot right against the goal line. Secures them this point and gets them that much closer to qualifying.
Yeah, my god, Suplex, the tempo is so lethal. Just continuing to batter Vic Blade there, using the cooldowns wisely to confirm that kill. It's a power play, and it's looking like it might pay off in full forward, but good defense from Kahone, able to stave it off for now, and Vic Blade back online. It's a sentry turret that they have to deal with, but Vic Blade is tanking every single shot. That's so much damage onto him now. He might be returning to the bench from when he came. But no, able to hold on for now there, still trying to find something as well. Chikara Clinkers on the back pedal here with the staggered brawler. And there he goes, right back to the respawn point. A nice Soren from Kahone. It doesn't matter though. Gets caught in the top spin. Snowing Halo with a nice flip. And my god, Lag and Laggers just not giving them any room to breathe.
And one of their saving graces on Clinker's side was Era having a lot of energy, but losing it there to that KO from the top spin, and it's just really difficult for this team to get around this annoyingly large Kazan and this Aimee and Vice that are just everywhere. Both of them can be anywhere on the map at any point in time against a character who only gets to basically strike the core or interact with it close to her.
And the story is, off that power play, it seems like Kahone has to clear against all three members of Lag and Laggers, but Chocobo Yao probably only has to deal with one, and that Bewitchy being going wide is not going to help the Chikara Clinker's case, but still it's Vic Blade with the core, slow walking it, buying time, almost dies, straying too close to that edge, and this Vice, so much power with the hot shot, making it go red, but that's dangerous! Can't find the goal, but does find the kill on the goalie. This is a big break for Chikara Clinkers if they can convert it, but it's Suplex closest now with that core. Walking top side. He has a flip and he's gonna use it! And he sent it to his favorite top side in Lag and Laggers. An easy sweep for them. 5-0 in pools. Absolute domination.
Yeah, 5-0 in pools, and they look like a 5-0 team there. Even with the lag going on, getting through the lag, finding the defense, and most importantly, finding the ability to just be everywhere on the map all at once, looking like that movie, and putting on a movie here in the OSAS finale group stage as they just kind of almost easily waltz themselves into the upcoming bracket stage on the back of their good team plays and just really good patience out from the forwards of Snowly and Halo and Suplex, using the energy burst where they need, finding the passes, finding the setups, and sometimes just keeping it forward was Snowly and Halo so that Suplex could eventually find that one thing that gets it into their hands and into the goal net. So well played from Lag and Laggers, and we'll see how they do as we get into the bracket stage coming up after this break. Don't go anywhere.
Hello everyone, we're back and this time we're in ISS for the final two matches of that tournament here. We got Brotherhood of Brain Cells versus Senko's Beloved Loves, and then we're going to have Eaters versus Cutie Patooties. So don't go anywhere after this match, but P-Flare, this is going to be an interesting one.
Yes. What do you think is going to be the case considering what we have going on with the awakenings in particular that we have at this moment?
Extra special Among Titans, I do expect all three players to go that Among Titans. The additional speed, especially on a map like Oni Village, is all important after all. And with that, I think that this will be a bit of an unfortunate game for the goalies because more speed in the game means it's hard to do the goalie thing when it's easier to cover the clears.
Yeah, so in that case, that sounds to me like both teams' passing games are going to still have to be on very good point because with that kind of speed and power behind all these shots, that could lead to some really wild bounces. That could lead to a loss of control very quickly, and you know that this game is just as much being able to avoid mistakes and take advantage of mistakes just as much as it is, just being able to know when to launch like attacks and abilities and whatnot. It's being able to figure that out and have that kind of timing ready to go.
Yeah, Senko's Beloved Loaves, no strangers to this stage, but the same can be said about this roster of Brotherhood of Brain Cells here. We'll see what happens, but the early sets, this Asher with the fresh nerfs might struggle a little bit.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about that too. Some weird. Was that just like a stare down?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna be like that this game, all fine and dandy.
It's they knew exactly what was the case. They had the chance to score too, with that one gamer burning the strike early, but it doesn't end up happening here. Double banish comes out, dangerous spot in the goal net, and a really good angle strike from Cholesterol. That's the first goal right there. Well played.
Yeah, very good, very nice patience on their part, and really, if things are going to be kind of like hesitant on Oni Village, it's definitely going to be a matter of, okay, who blinks first? And again, like you said, with this opening awakening, yeah, that's going to be a lot more deadly than it might be otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, that's a quick goal coming out from Adrian. The slip into pop-up there. The Kazan special, and B-Knight not able to deal with it that time. We've seen the offense for both teams, and we're really seeing that the goalies are having a hard time covering a lot of these follow-ups from the passing plays.
Yeah, basically what we kind of like expected, just cores moving a little bit fast, and they're kind of like getting either caught out or just kind of like passed around, and they're not quite being able to like react in time, and that's just making this a whole shootout.
Yeah, B-Knight in trouble now. Both barriers down. Dangerous spot. Sim certified. Flip available now. And a banish to slow down the play from Babao, but they still have to get this barrier, and it's going to be difficult. The Asher has a flip available. Doesn't even need it for the moment because it's Sim certified to the top corner, making it 2-1 in the favor of the Brotherhood.
Honestly, I'm already looking impressed by Simp Certified. They've been like pretty much already everywhere. They've been in the thick of it and being able to like make a lot of very good like calls and get a lot of interesting angles on that core. So I would not be surprised if they continue to just like show out for the rest of this game.
Yeah, and these barriers being taken so early. Adrian with the pullback, but might have been a little bit too autopilot there as B-Knight has a chance to save it. Still a huge advantage here for Brotherhood of Brain Cells, though. All it takes is one good Kazan mix-up to mix up this Dubu in a wide open net. Babao keeping it under possession, but it's in the hands of Adrian all the way around. The log will save it. Babao dropping back to help, but the roll, too much end lag on that against the topspin from Adrian, and that's a clean 3-1 for the Brotherhood of Brain Cells.
Just very good teamwork on the whole. I'm very impressed. Again, like, yeah, I'm not surprised Sim Certified got the MVP, and I wouldn't be surprised if they... Honestly, there's a lot they could do here. I'm looking at either aerials or someone get some sparks started.
Yeah, the sparks are getting started here with that single spark. A big threat with that leadership on the board, even though it's a lot weaker than it used to be, of course. And looking at the rest of this draft, the lack of speed does concern me, right? Other
Yeah.
than the spark of agility, there's no other speed on the board. These goalies are going to have an even harder time really keeping up, especially against that Aimi.
Yeah, I mean, sure, the twin drive might help a little bit on one side, and on the other, like, you still have, like, Orb Replicator, which, you know, good, but like you said, doesn't really help with the coverage. So, yeah, this is just going to be, like, a very, very rough game for the goalies, but I'm fully looking at, so, like, Cholesterol going to try and take advantage of that prize fighter.
Yeah, but might not even have the chance. Whoa! The Tofu Fortress and the pillars, an awkward spot. The goalie goes down, and now an almost impossible defense. Good strike core by Cholesterol. But again, it goes around the world. It slips around Sim certified, and that's really bad for the momentum of the Brotherhood of Brain Cells. It's Senko's beloved Los now with some pressure in the corner, but they can't cover quite enough. And Adrian with the breakaway, top side, Sim certified, flip available, not going to get the goal just yet.
Yeah, very nice that they just barely managed to save that. Sim Certified barely managed to save themselves, but that flip was excellently timed. Served a little bit of a dual purpose there to get that first one for this set.
Yeah, really, really well played there. Sent it around the entire world, it felt like, and now I think it's Senko's beloved Los are really feeling the pressure, right? The consistent offense coming out from Sim Certified and Adrian, a lot of it has to do with how willing they are to pass to each other, like right there. And they are just advancing the core, keeping the core under their control so efficiently.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't really have much else to say to that, because yes, absolutely. And especially with being able to kind of like lock off these certain angles and redirect like they are able to, like right there, it's just very hard to get that core away from them at all.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens here, but it's a little rough, especially with the energy advantage on their side, right? It's slight, but the fact that they have 2 goals and still have a slight energy advantage is massive. A good flip by Cholesterol, though, takes both barriers early. This is exactly what Senko's needs.
Yeah, well, we need to see if they can finish it. They have had something like this happen before, but yeah, exactly like that. Like, Cholesterol got taken out pretty much with authority by Adrian and that portal, so it's not as clean cut as it may always seem to be.
Ooh, that's a rough goal. Flip available for the goalie, but B9 not quite enough speed to get there. And they don't even need to cash out the Brotherhood of Brain Cells. They have flips to spare as they win that set, and Adrian gets MVP, and everything's looking up for them. Especially because if you want to deny the sparks, you're going to have to deny Spark of Leadership, which by itself basically does nothing.
Yeah, so it's like, do you want to risk it, or do you block it? And they let it go through. All right, so that's a Spark of Leadership for the IME. Already has 1 spark, so now everybody on that team is getting faster. And with that prime time and that glass cannon, suddenly they got like a lot of speed.
Yeah, the hotshot might do stuff, but it is looking just really good for the Brotherhood of Brain Cells, especially even if they lose here. Now that Spark of Leadership plus agility gets even scarier, and I don't think they're going to lose here because of their coordination coming in. They have the tools they need. They have the slight speed advantage. It's going to take a lot of rune shenanigans, and I don't think the rune is enough.
Yeah, no, me neither. This is just like looking really rough, and yeah, I was about to say something similar. If they do somehow lose this, let's say Cholesterol about pulls off like some sort of miracle run, okay, but if there's like 1 or 2 more sparks on that board, then that is just almost that's almost wraps right there, because yeah, it doesn't do anything, but the Spark of Leadership's so dangerous, and also is that ult placement by Sim Certified very good, just like cutting off the angles and keeping the core up.
Yeah, it is brutal how well they are playing here. Brotherhood of Brain Cells wants to qualify for the ISS finale, and they are looking like they are the favorites here. Dangerous offense coming out from Cholesterol, but that one Gamer is dealing with the rune pressure quite well, very aware of all the angles, and Adrian with the weight trying to catch B-Knight panicking here, and B-Knight, respect to not panic there, but it is still such a dangerous spot to be in if you're Senko's beloved Los.
Honestly, the fact that he had the cojones to try and just psych out B Knight like that, that tells you like how hard they're feeling themselves and how confident they are that they're able to just like stop the call and just like look at them and like flinch. And
No one's
they,
flinching.
okay, they're just kind of like playing around. Yeah, it was kind of like the thing. They're just like, you go first, you go first. They feeling themselves really hard, and at this point, it's toying with their food. I gotta be real with you. That they're playing with their food.
Yeah, but Senkos are opting into it.
Yeah.
They need to try something else because they're getting sucked into the Brotherhood of Brain Cells, just being confident and controlling the pace of the game.
Yeah, they're being like outplayed, outpsyched right now, but that's the problem. They can't let like you said, like they can't let themselves fall into that pace and that kind of rhythm, and that just you play how we demand, you know. And the fact that they're still kind of like trying to go up and around and pull like that same technique, pull like the same game plan out, and it's not working for them. They need to try some kind of. They need to find out something new.
Yeah, well, we'll see if they can do so, but right now it's looking bad. Oh, they got a banish to the edge, but they don't focus on any pressure on Sim Certify, which means that Adrian's in position. Simp has so many rebounds. The possession being kept is so valuable for the side of Brotherhood of Brain Cells here, but Cholesterol, one breakaway, one barrier take, maybe the chance for Senko's beloved Loaves, and a good log to negate the flip. The best chance Senkos have had in ages here if they can secure this point, and the Pratt Splitter's not enough. It's not wide enough, and that's a flip into the goal.
Okay, I think, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if either of them thought that wouldn't be caught, but they did manage to slip it right past the pass splitter, so good on them for getting on the board, but they have to keep it up. This is a long road to climb, and I'm pretty sure that, you know, they see that score and they're like, okay, you get your one.
Goodbye, Adrian. Casher getting blasted off the map by that Tofu Fortress, and maybe some pressure here, but a good stall by Sim Certified. Of course, the flip gets blocked, but the respawn comes in, and it's like that power play never existed.
Yeah, and they're still... I'm getting almost the feeling that Senkos is not 100% sure what to do with the core every time, like, they get it. Does that make sense to you? Like, it feels like they've been trying to figure out how to approach, but they keep going back to the same well. Again, like I said that earlier, and it's just... They're kind of, like I said, I feel like Brotherhood of Brain Cells is kind of playing with them for it, and at this point, it seems like Senko's beloved Loafs are trying to wait until Brain Cells make a mistake, and Brain Cells aren't going to make that kind of mistake.
Oh, we're back to the corner. Okay, but Bao opts out of it. Doesn't want to repeat that 20 times again. But yeah, I do get what you're saying. A lot of it is just that Senko's beloved Loafs are not maintaining possession as well. They go for one attack, and if they miss the rebound, they're like, oh man, that sucks. Meanwhile, Adrian and Sim Certified, they will try again, get all the rebounds, make the most of every opportunity, and that means they're one goal away here.
Yeah, it's just... It almost comes off as like a matter of... We talk about like hunger on these teams fairly often, and it's right now, it really is looking like Brotherhood of Brain Cells, they just want it more.
Yeah, and they're also playing a lot more together as a whole team. But B-Knight trying to get in there. Cholesterol finds the barrier, and these individual outplays might be what Senko's beloved Loafs need, but it's still a dangerous spot to be in. Sim Certified, the layering of the pressure. Adrian misses the strike, but it's okay. There'll be plenty more opportunities if they keep playing like they're playing. A bit of an unfortunate moment, but you have plenty of moments to recover. Cholesterol to the bottom side, though, and Strike War Sim Certified on the way there. Okay, Senko's beloved Loafs, they make the most of it, and maybe Kashura's misstrike might come back to bite them.
Yeah, a bit of a sign of life. It felt like almost they were trying to go for like a stylish finish, because immediately shot it right before the goal barriers like even finished opening up, and it just bounced back, and then, you know, like the banish caught it on the rebound, and that allowed them to kind of like set up and actually have a shot at it. So we'll see, like I said, if that ends up coming back to bite them on the behind or not. They already got one barrier, tied it up, but if they can get this, then yeah, they're still in the hot seat, but they're still in a much better position than they were earlier.
Yeah, Tofu Fortress, when it's sent at the core and hits it vertically, it's so hazardous. It could bounce anywhere, honestly, even backwards. B-Knight trying to get out of there. Good early clear. Proactive against Adrian. And a dangerous corner once again. This time a missed strike from both teams for the moment as Cholesterol tries to find a miracle play onto the barrier. But it's pretty difficult to do so in this entire Lasher matchup. B-Knight keeping the core contained though. But Adrian, perfect hook. Barriers go down. Big opportunity now to close this one out. Good log for the moment. Flip still available, but it's a massive net to cover. So much room that you have to take up as this Dubu goalie. It's not going to be easy. The Tofu Fortress almost sends it backwards, not quite. And this barrier shows no signs of even being close to going down as Adrian pulls it away, closes out the game, and Brotherhood of Brain Cells qualify for the finale.
That was almost clinical in how that ended up turning out. Just very good passing, very good aggression, just, you know, like almost 10 out of 10, no notes.
Yep, so very, very well played. They had control for basically all of that game, as you can tell by Sim Certified Sky. High number of redirects, and my lobby's glitching.
Ooh.
All good, all good, all
Wait.
good.
Okay. Okay. But yes, very much just a very good showing by Brotherhood of Brain Cells. Takes that one very nicely. Like, damage came out, redirects came out, and they knew exactly what they were doing at all times.
Yep, it looks like I'm in 2 lobbies at the same time right now, so I'll have to try to figure that out, how to fix that one. But, well, we'll be right back and have the other ISS qualifier up, the predictions up. It's Mediators versus Cutie Patooties after this break. Hey everyone, we're back. Final match of the day, and we're on to the Oni Village once more. It's gonna be an interesting one.
Yep, as once more, we are, like you said, back at Oni Village, and this time, though, we have the E-Daters and Cutie Patooties. So, what are we looking at here in terms of composition?
These are some incredibly boring comps. I'm just gonna say it. Like not that they're gonna play out boringly, but in that when you look at these characters, like there's nothing crazy, you know. Like these are just characters that are picked often, that exist in the game of Mega Strikers. I do like the potential on this red side comp for mediators though. I think that there's gonna be a lot of mobility, and that will definitely help work around the relatively immobile Juliet.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I'm honestly just a fan of Juliet getting to punch everybody out, so I am hoping to see some cheeky KOs from said Juliet as we kick off here.
Yeah, the names on the E-Daters, of course, are a little goofy, and Cutie Patooties will have to really just work a lot because Torin on a Subu goalie feels oh so alone against the offense of Estelle, Kynes, and Taro. That all converges onto that barrier, and yeah, not going to be easy, I think.
No, you're right. Just there's too much movement capability, and I feel like actually, yeah, if they all do want to be able to like keep an offense and keep a score,
Ooh.
Juliet's going to have to do something like really fast. They're going to have to be able to try and like hunt these characters down almost. At least that's what I think is going to have to be the case, while Smax tries to do their best to get some control over that core. But that's much easier said than done.
Yeah, and there's some infinite follow-ups coming through for the E-Dater side, right? Into that top corner, set up by Chicken Jockey, and Kara there with the Crystal Thorns to make sure the clear is not open. Torin having a nightmare of a time, unfortunately, but we did see that barrier take earlier from the Cutie Patooties being relatively clean, so I think it's set up like a floating open space shot and finds a follow-up with a dash punch and the cyber swipe. Maybe they have a shot here, but so difficult when Vladilena Gargura is playing so on point right now.
Yeah, there's just so much coverage that they have with all three of these characters. They can reach across the map in a way that otherwise can't be done by the other team, by, like you said, by this Juliet. Maybe not even necessarily like this Aimee, who otherwise is very good.
That's insane. Did you see that Estelle just shoot?
Yes.
That was crazy, but the Flamesbury held it, and the Strike War was won in the end. So the barrier still stands despite the backward snipe coming out, and it is just ridiculous how the E-Daters are playing this one, but they are playing so confidently and maintaining the majority of the possession, most importantly. Oh no, you're not there with the confidence. That could have been a dash punch flip, that could have been a KO, but instead, they still have an open net that they can play with.
Yeah. Oh, but Yunaka does manage to kind of just punch it past Gargura, just managed to kind of catch him sleeping a little bit.
Yeah, and Yunaka, of course, Ultra Dre renamed. We have so many renames in this game, actually. There are more renamed players than non-renamed ones. 4 out of the 6 are not in the names that we usually know them for. That's crazy.
That is, but in my thing, it also doesn't matter. I'm just calling them what is on the screen. And right now,
yeah,
what is on the screen... Yeah, right now what is on the screen is an open goal, and they have to, like, very desperately push that core away. Nice kill. That is what they need for this.
Yeah, but they need to somehow get it to Yunaka here on the Juliet, and unfortunately the respawn comes in and they don't get that done. Smacks in the top corner, Fireball Sentry set up, but a Giga Blast coming out from the Kai will send it away for now in this open net. So hazardous, especially if the Estelle gets the hands on the core. Vladilena Gargura walking past the core a little bit too much, and then now a dangerous spot for Torin, but gets it away with the dribble. Good spot for the Juliet. Yunaka with the barrier take. Big opportunity for the Cutie Patooties to equalize here, but the Giga Blast covers every single option. A KO onto the Aimee with the shot as well. Yunaka, grabs the core for a second. And what a pass by Torin.
Sick pass, sick redirect, got him in the 50-50, and even then, he guessed right, just managed to punch it faster than that barrage could reach.
Yeah, incredibly well played there. They need to make some more miracles happen, though, and staying way too close to the wall there is Smags, unfortunately KO'd, taken away for 6 more seconds. The question is, can they hold? And they can, and take a barrier as well as the strike doesn't come back in time. And the Kai goalie now needs to be careful when being active a little bit more. Can't afford to give up the second barrier here as Torin confidently stepping forward.
Yeah, very interesting, aggressive play. Does cost them a barrier, but I can understand why they'd want to like go for it. If they get caught on defense, like we've been saying, then it's almost wraps anyway. So push forward and kind of place all your bets on that. I don't even blame them for trying that, honestly.
Yeah, well, good attempt, but E-Daters are the ones who find a set win here, and that spark of leadership, but also all of the other sparks. I don't think it's even worth going leadership.
No. Do
Yeah,
not
it's not.
worry about it.
Yeah, just go strong. It's bait. Everyone else is going to get better awakenings here.
If you say so, I have to agree. Yes, everyone is absolutely going to get better awakenings. It's just I'm just not sure about it. I don't think it. Well, I know I'm not sure about it. I don't really think that was the call.
Yeah, I like the draft on the other team better. I think Cutie Patootie has got a much better draft here.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, especially because of that bait leadership take. And they ended up getting 1-2 Punch Juliet. They ended up getting 2 Spark Dubu. And 2 Sparks low-key better than leadership, especially when one of them is focused here. So, yeah, it's an unfortunate decision coming out from the E-Daters, I think. But they still have the tools they need. They still have the passing plays. They still have the ball control.
Yeah, a lot of it is just pure character difference that's, basically kind of like letting them run away with this one. But if these drafts, this draft went very much in the way of Cutie Patooties, and it may help a little bit equalizer. I'm already seeing a lot more fight out of them than was in these points than it was in the first set.
Torn with a very ambitious roll. Dangerous spot now. Can Chicken Jockey get something done here? Sends it to the bottom side. Oni's Blade and not going to be used, not available. Finally used in the midfield. A bit awkward of a spot here as Smax keeps the offense going. You got to be careful now if you're the Cutie Patooties. The flip comes out, but the log right into the hands of Gargura. The follow from Yunaka not finding its mark. In a good spot here, but not quite getting the pass. Dangerous spot now as Chicken Jockey to the bottom side, but Smags fishes it away. Vixie, Chicken Jockey not going to get it done, and Ultra J Yunaka on the other end scores. I think the Cutie Patooties are starting to scale.
They are starting to scale, but also that was an absolute miracle save by Smags that allowed that to even have a chance of happening. So, all credit to them for being able to pull out that insane glitch pop.
Yeah, and still maintain the flip too, right? Insane save and still has the flip available. Yunaka working on one as well. A passing play could come through, but the Oni's Blade reinforces the defense, and Yunaka brought critically low here. Could be KO'd if the regen keeps getting stopped. Good evade and the barrier take, and Cutie Patooties continue to excel. The hotshot core speed just enough from Smags.
Very nice. Smags almost putting this game on their back, saying, hold on, I got hot shots. I can hit these glitch pops. We are rolling. And they are making it work. They are making it happen.
Yeah, they are. Dangerous spot in the corner now, but they've worked through a lot of these dangerous situations with the good passes through the center, setting it between the Estelle and the Zentaro so often. But this time, a Chicken Jockey in position keeps the core in their hands, trying to bounce it around Torrid. And that Tofu Fortress is not looking solid in the slightest, but it gets the job done. And 1 barrier taken, 2 barriers being chased. Yunaka and Torrid both advancing. And this combined offense from Cutie Patooties, they collapse so well. But it's also dangerous on the defense for them, as these barriers are going down quite easily.
Yeah, it's very feast or famine, their style. But like I said, I feel like they also know that, hey, if we get caught in a bad situation, it's very unlikely that I get scored on anyway. So let's just try and force the issue and hope for the best. Wow.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a weird situation. The hit stun wasn't there either. Yunaka just managed to get the full core speed right through. I feel like the flip should have been used, but Well played, I guess. The Cutie Patooties, big set win, and now they have a team player goalie in their hands.
That is going to be much appreciated. That if they do get like that missile propulsion as well, just yeah, Cutie Patooties getting a lot of good options here.
Yep, they are. That missile prop also going to help out a little bit. That prize fighter with the 1-2 punch, if any KO goes through, it's dangerous. Meanwhile, on the other end, very sad awakenings. Maybe if Gargura can use that mobility to get multiple orbs, the energy economy is going to be huge for the E-Daters, but it's going to take a lot for the E-Daters to really make use of what they got in that draft.
Yeah, so right now it is the momentum has definitely swung over in favor of the Cutie Patooties very impressively. Just that risky offense combined with honestly very good passing, very good ability usage, just very timely decision making, and that's getting them these points, and that's getting them kind of like not quite the lead, but it's making them much more threatening.
Yeah, like right there, the flamethrower used by Yunaka at a very good spot. It didn't use it too late or too early. Wait until the perfect spot where the core could be trapped against the barrier. Now with this open net, it's a dangerous spot here. Kara, though, a good delay. It means that the barrier goes down. But Yunaka has the core speed. Don't forget, they have team player, they have hotshot, they have 1-2 punch. All of the core speed's in the hands of the Cutie Patooties. And in this open net situation, when overtime's about to take over, oh, okay, well, not the greatest roll, but it happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 1v1 against Zentaro. Everybody flinches.
Yeah, it's all about going next, and they have a lot of energy to do so with, right? They lose the point, but they have basically 3 flips available. One barrier goes down early, but they have a lot of chances to take these barriers here as flips burned on Chicken Jockey as well, and Kara's dangerously low.
Yeah, nearly got the KO there, but not quite. Flip, nice flip, gets that 1 barrier. 2, tries to fake him out, no dice. But they do get the kill, and yeah, that is that prize fighter procs. So let's see if that turns up anything.
Yeah, Kara's low too. If the Stell missteps, they can go for a KO here. As Torin stepping all the way forward to force the corner offense, force the issue. They don't get the pressure, but they don't lose the barrier either. Well played by Torin to keep it up.
Yeah, a lot. Again, just this very, very risky style of play, but it is working out for him. And with Smags just being able to kind of help support it, and Garagura caught a little bit out of position. Very nice ricochet bounced by Smogs. Just Garagura couldn't get to it.
Yeah, that is the power of core speed after all. And again, all of the core speed in the hands of the Cutie Patooties, all of the X factor really. So it's going to take some methodical gameplay from the E-Daters, but the team that's been doing better in the methodical gameplay right now is the Cutie Patooties. Everything on their side right now if Torin keeps this very fragile type of gameplay alive. It's not easy. It's very risky, but if Torin can keep it up, the Cutie Patooties are going to win.
Yeah, like very high risk, high reward, and so far they are getting rewarded for it. And it feels like E-Daters, they are trying to like get past it, but at the same time it's like, oh crap, suddenly there's a giant hamster throwing stuff at us from midfield, and it's just more to deal with than they might be expecting.
And a lot of what's enabling this gameplay is Smags setting up a lot of these interrupts in the midfield like that. The glitch pop, make sure the passing plays aren't clean from the E-Daters. And Torin, of course, having those clears afterwards once those passing lanes are interrupted. Dangerous clear from Torin. The passing play doesn't go through. Dangerous roll, and it's punished this time. And that'll be a goal for the E-Daters. That'll be the lead for the E-Daters here.
Yeah, that is the famine part of Feast or Famine with that aggressive playstyle that Torin's been pulling off. Yeah, you miss one roll, you miss one log, one pretty much anything, and that's a barrier or a goal just right then and there. So, like I said, if they can keep it up, if they can keep that fragile play up, it's fantastic.
Yeah, we'll see if they can keep it up here right now. You're not going to knock in the bottom barrier. A bit of a slight miss angle, unfortunately. But the bottom lane's wide open for Yunaka to do their work here. Dashes through, but doesn't get through. But there's a KO coming through for Smags. Dangerous spot now for the E-Daters as the offense comes through with the Aimee, with the Juliet to the top corner. Perfectly timed Flame Flurry to trap it perfectly 2-2 now. Game evened up, but I think the Cutie Patooties are feeling a lot more confident.
Oh yeah, like at this point they know what their game plan is. They figured out what they want to do. They decided like even if it's risky, we're just gonna go for it and we're gonna play to our best strengths. And yeah, like it's working out for them. At this point, they just it's both teams trying to play to their best game plan. And Cutie Patooties has, I think, like the crazier one, yes, but also one very good rewarding. On the other hand, though, that can sometimes happen.
Yeah, now it's a lot scarier for the Cutie Patooties. But if they can find a big opportunity in this bottom corner, that is everything they need. They don't quite get the pass through. But the flamethrower is good, cleared out by Kara. Good defensive play by Diestel, by the midfielder of the Edators. And now they collapse, but Torin, a perfect strike to get through it all. And Yunaka maintaining possession, getting the dribble, smacks with the flip. Stuffed away, a little bit too preemptive here. Now dangerous spot. Torin getting the clear. Core drifts so dangerously in the midfield as Smacks trying to get it through, trying to bait something. As the flip comes through, and that'll be Torin going down. That'll be Chicken Jockey with the follow-up. And it was so close, but Cutie Patooties, they stumbled at the very end. They couldn't keep possession.
Yeah, it was a shame. And really, Zentaro has been kind of their demon for this whole game. I've noticed whenever they get into like one-on-ones, it's always Chicken Jockey that's causing so much trouble and getting like a lot of these scores. So honestly, with that explosive entrance, that's just going to make that threat a whole lot worse. They've got to try and like mitigate it.
I'm surprised they didn't go Stacks on the Dubu. Yeah, Primetime is good, also good on the Estelle, but Stacks, it's Oni Village, and Torin's pushing up quite a bit. I think that Stacks would have done so much for their game plan here. Not that Primetime is bad, but the Dubu's not going to find that as much use of it.
I agree with you. Like I said, I agree with you in that like I see their vision. I don't know if it's the vision that I would have had, but we'll see if it does manage to work out. Maybe they have some sort of like game plan idea. Casual barrier take almost there, but it's very much a wait and see game to see if they can kind of like shake back from that unfortunate defeat.
Yeah, the most scary thing is that Kara's getting a lot of touches on the core, and that's the one character you don't want getting speed, right? The Estelle, who's otherwise requires the... Whoa, what a roll by Torin, what a dash punch by Yunaka. Forget what I was saying. They get it done, speed or not.
Okie dokie. That was honestly just impressive with that boldness. Been doing it all game, but it's not getting old.
Yep, they get it done over and over again, but they are definitely on the back foot, and that stacks on stacks is stacking for the Estelle, so they have to be careful later on into this set. That additional mobility from the midfielder and that snipe taking 2 barriers. Dangerous spot. They burned a flip from Chicken Jockey, and the Tofu Fortress is perfect to burn another flip here. A lot of energy wasted for the side of the Edators, and a KO found as well. The prize fighter activated the barrier, taken everything in their hands. They see the goal to finish off a massive lead. They don't quite get it though. Gotta be careful, Torin, but an early strike is good. It's all about confidently striking if you're a goalie pushing up. But that flip doesn't quite connect here. Dangerous spot for Torin now, but the passing lanes are wide open for Smags. A good roll this time, and Yunaka to the bottom corner. No chance for Gargura to get there in time. This is the Cutie Patooties that could win this game.
Yeah, just bold flip, immediate feed to Yunaka, and just managed to push it through. Just very nice, very aggressive, very, very confident, like you said.
All right, and the one barrier taken already. And look at those dribbles coming out from Yunaka,
Yeah.
right? Keeping possession so well, and now Gargura under pressure, taking a lot of damage. A dash punch flip could KO here. That's the staggering coming through. Next cooldown kills, but on the other side, the barriers are taken as well. Dangerous spot, but Yunaka's in position, knows. The back pass to Spags. Oh, but it goes right to Kara. Oh, and Torin lets it... I mean, the Cutie Patooties, they're so close to being a perfect team, but they just have slight fumbles that make it so that their accuracy isn't quite there.
They go so crazy sometimes that, like, it just... I've been saying it this whole game. They go so crazy that sometimes they're their own worst enemy. They're kind of like daywalkers. They're just madcap sometimes with how they manage to play. And it's effective, but it's also very... It's also just so, like, you wouldn't expect them to do it. And sometimes it's not the best play.
Yeah, well, if Spags can get those redirects locked in a little bit more in those high-pressure situations, they'll be dominant here. But right now, the flips are a concern. Chicken Jockey flipping it away. Torin with one as well as Kara wins the flip off, but the Tofu Fortress will say no to that. Dangerous spot now with the core stopped, but Yunaka now burns all the cooldowns. Dangerous spot for the Juliet to be in, but can still be a striking character in the enemy net. And not quite so far, but it goes forward. Smags trying to find a passing lane. Not quite just yet, but the energy is being built up for the Saimi here.
Yeah, I get the feeling that that turret is going to come in very handy, especially in overtime here, though Torin doing a great job, honestly, with the blocks. Please don't cast a curse. Okay, thank you very much. And Yunaka just being like a very persistent threat, especially when they get their hands on the rock like that.
Team player.
Yes.
Torin team players it all the way forwards, and that dash punch, like you said, the moment Yunaka gets their hands on it, that it's basically a goal. And now we are in the end game.
Yeah, this is for all the marbles, so let's see who goes what. Yeah, I feel definitely wants that super surge, maybe even aerials if they want to. That heavy impact as well, gonna be very useful.
Yeah, time was also available, but that super surge is gonna be a lot of value for the Siamese, especially because we've seen a few KOs earlier as well. Among Titans, though, is scary on that Estelle. Already has that stacks on stacks, right? That Estelle is the fastest thing on the map right now.
Yeah, that is very concerning, I will admit that. But that's another reason why I'm thinking like that heavy impact is going to come into play if Yunaka starts to decide or realize that Kara is just getting a little bit too fresh. You can see like Yunaka is already kind of like hovering around him. So if they can get this core to her, then it'll be a lot easier of an issue to kind of like deal with than I think would be otherwise.
Yeah. Danger spot now. Top side goes the core. Yunaka lurking. Oh, but a flip pops the recovery drone and a KO onto Torin as well. And the overstepping from the Cutie Patooties gets punished immediately, but it looks like Yunaka is no stranger to the goal box here.
Yeah, very, very impressive hold there. Almost managed to save that one out just as Torin managed to come back and just not in the right position as they try to rotate back to their standard positions, and Jockey caught him out.
Yeah, good read by Chicken Jockey as well. With a Tofu Fortress on the top side, read that Torin would like to try and send it away from there, which is why the next level goalie mix-up is to send it into that Tofu Fortress spot, the dangerous spot, to mix up the Zentaro a little bit more, but you don't expect it. And of course, covering the safer clear is always the way to go, and Chicken Jockey did that perfectly. But on the other side, the barriers drop, and Cutie Patooties have a chance to even it right back up here.
Yeah, they've been showing they got it this whole game. Very nice defense on the side of E-Daters, though. They've been showing they can do this whole game, so no reason to count them out. Very threatening position they have at the moment. That did not trigger. That did not get the barrier.
Yeah, that's a little tough. Their reaction to that information is a dash punch. That's a prize fighter stack. That's a goal for Yunaka. And wow, what a goal. What a swing of momentum for the Cutie Patooties.
They have been keeping this even this whole game. It is 1-all, 2 sets apiece. I am not remotely surprised if this goes set 5 point, if this goes 0.5 at all.
Definitely a possibility here, especially when these barriers. No! Bit of a misplay by Chicken Jockey. That flip could have been for the goal here. And now it's a big opportunity for the Cutie Patooties. Dangerous spot, though. Oh, but Torin finds a strike at the last possible moment, and a flip wasted by Kara. Now Smack's pushing forward, taking so much damage, but the barrier's taken. A good roll by Torin. Good log by Torin. Has the flip. Panic flips. Panic all around, but Yunaka, no panic here. Oh, barely doesn't get the strike afterwards to score the goal. Smags has the flip, though. All eyes on Smags here. Oh, waste. I mean, everyone's panicking.
Yeah, it's nerves everywhere. Smags super low. Very nice patience on Torin, trying to like avoid like all the slice and dice and the cuts. Just it comes down to who can hold the patience. Oh god, that glitch pop scared me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but Chicken Jockey has a flip, right? Such a dangerous spot to be, but oh, flips it right into the corner. So much time to cover there. Oh, trying to get a team play going, but there's a snipe from Kara. That's the goal. And E-Daters 1 goal away from getting out of this scary game. Cutie Patooties, though, they are still in this one.
Oh yeah, no, this isn't. This one is the definition of it ain't over until it's over. I can tell you that right now. One barrier down already. Cutie Patooties gonna try and make it a quick 2, not quite.
Yeah. Oh, and on the other side, almost a quick 2 right back. Kara now in position. Crossfire from Chicken Jockey. Oh, gets the KO dash punch flip. That's such a huge swing in momentum in the favor of the Cutie Patooties. That's a flip off the board. That's the prize fighter stacked up, and that is the barrier standing.
Yeah, very, very critical KO, and that's a whole lot that's being reset on that Estelle, like you said. Second barrier goes out. KO goes out. Torin pushing up. There's blood in the water. The lot of them going for Smash. Smash trying to find a nice feed to Yutaka. No dice. Missed roll. Oh, this is scary, scary, scary.
Oh, yeah, they don't get the most out of the power play. Now they're in such a dangerous spot. Good flip by Torin. Yunaka has so many stats, but doesn't have the speed, right? Has everything except the speed right now. And Torin, oh, such a dangerous spot. Yunaka tries to dash punch. Good weight by Chicken Jockey. Good log. And finally, it's a good shot coming out from Vixie in the very end. The Edators secure the win, but it was so incredibly close.
That was insane. Cutie Patooties kept it, like I said, kept it tight this whole game. Had that all-out playstyle that was working for them, except for a couple of critical points and a couple of critical moments. And ultimately, Edators managed to kind of... I feel like that was a lot closer than even that point would say. Kind of a squeaker.
Yeah, that was pretty incredible. Wow. It was such a close game. In the end, though, even with less goals, it is the Edators who are on top.
Very much so. They made them when it counted.
Well, with that, P-Flare, that's the end of the day. Any thoughts?
Fantastic efforts for both teams, for everybody tonight, really. There were a lot of bangers out there. So keep at it, keep grinding, and we will see y'all later.
今を癒さしたは修練の炎と心の灯